To infinity and...
Come on, Sinister. Spit it out.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Cheap Seat Critics Podcast. We don't have to hear the end of the quote because you should know what it is because you clicked on Lightyear, the movie that we're discussing this time.
Or grew up on Toy Story.
Or, yeah, if you grew up on Toy Story. Let's go over roll call.
I've been a geeky writer. Oh, wait, no, that's my outro, isn't it? Hey, I'm a geeky writer.
I'm Crimson Maroon.
Sinister Boy.
And I'm Sprinks. So yeah, we watched Lightyear. Fellas, what is your experience to Pixar as a whole, since this is the most recent Pixar movie?
Oh boy, Pixar. I have a long history with Pixar. I grew up on Toy Story, as most of us did, I think. But I think I grew up on Bug's Life. I grew up on WALL-E. I think WALL-E is still my favorite Pixar movie, by a narrow margin. And since the old days, Pixar has continued to make movies, and honestly, they're more hit and miss than me today now for me than they used to be. All
used to be hits.
They certainly all felt like hits. But yeah, they're it doesn't feel that way anymore to me, sadly. But you know, I liked Pixar growing up, and I still do to a degree right now, because they still are capable of producing really great movies and stories. But you know, can't win them every time, I guess. So take it away, Crimson.
Yeah, I'm more of a old Pixar guy. Kind of stopped at around the Ratatouille time, so like 2008 or so. And then I've seen a few sprinkled here and there, but not consistent. I haven't seen Brave or Soul, Inside Out, stuff like that. So, yeah, this is the newest one. The one before that, I think that I've seen would have been Toy Story 4, which was a while ago at this point.
Dating yourself there.
My favorite one, Pixar, would probably be Incredibles.
So that's a classic.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people would
Incredibles
say
1.
Toy Story because that's like
It's
the beginning.
yeah, it's
Incredibles is quite enjoyable.
it's important to make the distinction. You like the first one.
Oh no, I love the whole franchise. Are you kidding me? That second one should not have been made as late as it did, and it should have come out like 2 years later.
It's the epitome of the syndrome meme, 17 years too late or something like that.
Yeah. I haven't seen that. That totally fits. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Pixar. Sinister.
It's gonna probably start sounding like a broken record in here, but yeah, I also, from a very early age, probably we got in my house we got a box set of like the first two Toy Story movies, like on DVD, and I watched those quite religiously. And then of course Bug's Life. I think I might have seen Bug's Life before I saw Toy Story, but and then I was also very, very much obsessed with Incredibles. That was probably a close runner-up to my favorite one. And I've probably seen all of them up to probably Toy Story 4 is probably where I stopped like religiously seeing like every single one when it came out. I love the shorts. I think the shorts are still really good. Even, the movies are kind of hit or miss, but I think the shorts have always been pretty good. And I will say that for a long time, I think Pixar kind of picked up the torch of like the animation that Disney had been doing in like the 30s and 40s, kind of always kind of reinventing itself and trying to find new stuff. And so I'll always give them credit for that. But yeah, I will say, I don't think I've ever seen, even if I don't really appreciate the story or I'm not really into it, I don't think I've ever seen a poorly animated Pixar movie. I think they've always been like the highest level you can possibly get to, usually, and as far as like computer animation and stuff.
What
So, yeah.
do you think was the worst looking one of its time? Because we can all say like Toy Story was the worst, but for its time, that was good.
Yeah, for its time. Trying to think. It's hard.
Is it Red? Is it called Red?
Turning Red. I haven't seen that one yet, so. But you know what? I think I might say Soul. I didn't really like how Soul looked, but
Interesting.
but I don't. It's either Soul or
I know what my answer would be.
Yeah, I don't mind.
yeah, you're gonna say Coco?
No?
Oh.
Coco looked good.
Mine is Up.
Yeah, I'm but it's been a long time since I saw
That's
Up,
true.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
For its time.
Actually, Brave. I'll say Brave. Brave is probably the one
I remember seeing Brave. I don't think it looks bad for its time. It just looked standard for its time. So like there was nothing impressive about it per se.
Yeah.
It was.
Let's see. That's like Pixar. I think has other like with that one is the only one where I think I don't really see them pushing themselves.
Okay.
Like trying something different. That one just seems like too. I'm not saying the story or anything. I'm just saying the animation. I'm sure the story is pretty good. I've heard good things about it, but just yeah, I'm just gonna go off of the animation I've seen, and it just looks standard, like early 2010 fare.
Well,
you said you had one.
Yeah.
Well, I guess just my history with Pixar. I grew up with Pixar, and Toy Story has been a cemented part of my heart.
A cornerstone, if you will.
Yes, my mom would be so sick and tired of any time asking what movie you want to watch, and the answer would 90% of the time be Toy Story or Toy Story 2. I believe I've seen every single Pixar movie up to date currently except two of them, which would be Turning Red, I have not seen yet, and Cars 3. I think those are the only two I have not seen. I do believe that their earlier work was better. It was more... Pixar is very good at original stories, but I think their earlier work hit a little closer, and it may have been because I was younger, so it was more, to the more of a kid to me as opposed to the newer ones. But that does not make me think the newer ones are bad. I really liked Onward. I thought that was a very good one. One of the more recent ones. I think the worst looking one for its time is Monsters University.
I
think
with
what
that.
they did to Sully was...
I forgot that movie existed.
Considered to Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What
a difference.
I blocked that movie out of my mind. I forgot that one existed. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
And I do agree with Sinister. All the shorts are very, very good. What a lot of story and touching emotion in such like 3 minutes or less.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially even the early ones that are still like experimenting with computer animation are still like weirdly human in nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Red's Dream and Tintoy and...
Yeah, it's all good stuff. I think they should find that again in the shorts. They should reinvent.
I think what's one of the most recent ones I think that got a lot was it Pao?
Yeah,
The little dumpling.
Yeah, Bow. I
Ow.
think
That one. Yeah, a lot of people like that one.
that was a good one. Yeah, they've always done good shorts.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all for your talks on Pixar. I do have a little bit of Lightyear facts actually to go over.
Spicy.
So yeah, I do. So the initial release date for Lightyear is June 17th, 2022 for the U.S. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 45 minutes. Its genre classification is adventure and comedy. It is rated PG. Since, as of time of recording right now, it is still technically in theaters. Best answer I have of a gross is its opening weekend for U.S. and Canada, which was $50,577,961. And it was directed by Angus MacLean, who was the co-director of Finding Dory and also one of the 3 writers for Lightyear. Lightyear is his first solo feature directorial debut.
How about Finding Dory? That one can have lower visuals.
I think I brought up in session 0 about my middle numbers. Are any of those not good sequels?
Yeah.
Which Pixar kind of does with Monsters University, Finding Dory, Incredibles 2, Cars 2. I mean,
That's
the
a
most
recent thing.
exceptional
They
one is Toy
used to
Story
be-
2. That's better. But
They used to be like the exception to the rule, and now they're not.
I just think the
Just
first.
because of Toy Story 2, or is there another?
No. Well, yeah. Because Toy Story 2 is better than Toy Story.
Well,
I
that
think.
was their first sequel they did.
I know.
Yeah.
But then when they did Cars 2,
I think their first movies are so originally creative that when they continue a story, it loses that charm.
well, because I mean, you could argue that not every story merits a sequel. I know that's hard for some people to believe, but like Toy Story, I definitely could see like multiple films and from that just idea. But
I mean, that's why they
Cars,
got 4 of them.
yeah, Cars not so much. Incredibles I could see, but they just didn't do it very well. So
Yeah,
there you go.
it's
hard.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a hard
like,
thing.
yeah, they definitely set the bar really high for themselves with Toy Story 2 being a very, very good sequel to an original story. But because there are some things you can do to carry their original works forward, but in the case of like Incredibles and Cars, obviously the sequels didn't do very well. But
Yeah.
this movie's not a sequel, is it? Lightyear.
No.
No,
What is it, Springs?
It's a sidequel.
Yeah, it's a very interesting take on, I guess, some sort of a prequel, because at the opening it's stating that this movie is the movie that Andy saw to get a Lightyear toy, which I'm sure we'll discuss later. But it's in terms of that, it kind of states that this movie is in the Toy Story universe, but it's before Toy Story 1 of Andy's birthday. So it's kind of a prequel, but
It's a prequel / origin story
yeah.
of varying degrees.
Anywho, I guess we should. I think we'll save our initial thoughts, afterwards.
Yeah.
But I believe we've all seen this movie once because it's still in theaters.
Yes.
I'm making sure. Okay. I don't know if any of us went back and saw it again, so I've only seen it once. But yeah.
I
I mean,
feel
I
like
could've,
having to
but,
pay
yeah.
to watch it again.
Yeah.
You didn't even pay the first time. What are you talking about?
I didn't say having to pay again.
Anyway, I guess we'll jump in. We as some of you may know, unless you clicked on Lightyear and haven't listened to the past episodes, this first layout structure we're doing is kind of testing out different structures to go with. So we've gone over a 3-act structure, a popcorn effect one, and now with me leading, I am going to do a 5-act structure. So you'll kind of see as we go along how that goes. But for the most part, to begin with, for Act 1, it's the opening of the movie. and where I've classified the end of Act 1 is up to the point where Buzz returns to the base, I guess, on the planet that they're currently on, and find out that Hawthorne's office is empty and is now taken over by a character named Burnside. And we can stay linear to this. If you'd like to talk linear in terms, completely fine. If you'd also like the popcorn anywhere in between the act, feel free to do so. But I am going to pass the mic to Crimson to go over a point he'd like to talk about of Act 1.
Oh, sweet. I love talking about let's see. I guess let's start with the character of Buzz in this. So, early in the beginning of this, we get a little Buzz narration talking to his recorder, I guess.
It's very classic Buzz. He's recording his log.
Mission log.
Mission log.
Mission log, that's right. Explaining that he doesn't like autopilot AIs and rookies. Heavily establishing where his growth is going to be heading in this film.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, got thoughts on Buzz's intro?
Buzz's intro is very, very exaggerated. It's to the point of it's like the character is on overdrive to display to kind of like form a quick nostalgic attachment to the audience. So all his traits are on full display in this scene. He's pretty much being exaggerated as a character to try and get everything out really, really quickly in order to help facilitate the journey, as you've put it. It is important to note that I think that Star Command is sent them on an exploration, I guess. That was the gist of what they said. And they're on a new planet trying to prepare it and decide whether it's going to be safe for scientists to come out. Because the Space Rangers in this universe make way for the scientists, essentially.
Yeah, they were the scouts.
Yeah, they're the scouts.
Space Rangers.
Yes. I do agree with the fact that it was a bit over-exaggerated and rushed of Buzz's introduction. But instead of a more original approach to introduce Buzz, they went with the nostalgia factor of using pretty much the same lines from Toy Story 1, and which some could see as, like, oh, they did it for the movie, which on my first intake, it was what hit me, but to others, I can see it as like, oh, I've already seen this before. One small detail they did show is they were in the Gamma Quadrant, Sector 4, which is pretty much listed on Buzz the Toy in Toy Story's mission log recorder, and I believe it's also shown at the beginning of Toy Story 2 for the video game.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Did anybody else wish that was an actual game when they saw that in Toy Story 2?
Oh, yeah.
It is an actual game.
They kind of did later, though.
Yeah, they kind of.
Or they made it.
I mean, it had one level in Toy Story 3, the game.
Yeah.
I did find the comedy in this scene grating. It wasn't bad. It was just. I think it just
standard fare.
Yeah, it wasn't it was fine. I smirk at some of it, but $1 million script, and I just kind of die inside a little bit.
Did you feel it was winking at itself a little bit too much?
Yeah, as Spring said, and then agreed at least with me, that Buzz comes up very over the top, and it is done for a nostalgic factor, but I think they leaned way too heavily into that, to the point where I was thrown right back out of being immersed in the story.
They do make him very serious at his job and his role as a Space Ranger.
It's very Toy Story pre him realizing he's not real kind of set up.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, nostalgia factor. It's like, oh yeah, I remember those days. But I do wish they kind of would have toned that down at least a little bit. after the
Oh,
beginning.
That's kind of, yeah. I was like, overall, I like that Buzz was actually kind of serious in this.
Yeah, when he's done being over exaggerated.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, that is something I agree with Crimson that I did like. Buzz wasn't one to make jokes
Mhm.
or add humor. He was the very serious leadership role.
He was the straight man, and then everybody else was
Yeah.
the.
Everyone else was the casual, laid back, it's fine kind of person, which was Hawthorne, who was then shown, and then gosh, I forget the name. Featheringham.
Feathernam Stan.
Feathernam
so
Stan?
Feathernam Stan.
Yeah,
Played-
what I wrote. Hader's character.
Yeah, voiced by the incomparable Bill Hader. Everybody, thank you very much.
As the rookie, which is already stated that Buzz has a high disliking to rookies.
Yeah.
But just look at his eyes, though.
Yeah,
He's gonna
sad
have
eyes.
sad-
Yeah.
He's gonna have sad eyes. He's gonna give sad eyes.
I do have. I guess I have one question about this scene. How did you all feel about Buzz not really recording mission logs for the sake of recording mission logs, but more like he's narrating to himself in order to focus?
I guess I'll start. I kind of like that's a little trope that I think has been popping up more and more because that I've seen in certain animations and just like space, or I guess like military based stories or stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of and I do like the psychological implication of it, because I do think there's this like weird. Because I just know from my own experience that I sometimes I always find it weird because I'm so used to talking to other people that when I kind of start talking to myself, it feels strange, and I kind of catch myself doing it. But I'm curious if like I was doing it, if I was recording myself in the guise of that I was technically talking to somebody, that it would probably be slightly comforting, even though I've never
Mm-hmm.
done that. So I did like the implication of like, even though I know it's not supposed to be like a psychological thing, I like that little ad, like he does it just so that it's a like a security blanket, or and it can be a funny thing, like nobody reads that and you're just talking basically to yourself, so I like the both ways it worked on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that deeply. I saw it just as a device to tell the audience information, and that the Buzz we know, the toy, did the same thing pretty much. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I mean that all adds up. So it didn't really stand out as why is he doing that. I think it worked for what we've seen in the Toy Story movies.
I guess what I'll add, because after hearing that, I like that they winked at the reference, but they also at least gave it, I guess, more meat as far as like they gave him a reason why he does it, and then it's like it made it less of a reference and kind of more of a character trait, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciated that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Sorry, writer. I think the thing I agree with is when Hawthorne stated no one listens to those, which shows that Buzz, I think, and Buzz responds with I know that. So I do believe it's more in the vein of Buzz is doing it to get himself into more of that character of leadership to help him move on, because if he didn't, he would be in complete silence.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't have anything around, and I think it's better shown to be vocally recorded in a mission log than internal like monologue in his head kind of thing.
Yeah, I was just curious because that is one trait that I do. They did tweak it a little bit from the original Buzz Lightyear movie, and that is one trait that I like that they kind of kept, because in the original movie, he's uptight about the regulations because he helped to write them, and one of the regulations is you are supposed to do mission logs and things like that.
For clarification, when you say original movie, you mean Buzz Lightyear Star Command?
Yes, I do mean Buzz Lightyear Star Command. So that is one trait that I actually like that they kept, because he he does record his mission logs a lot to the point where it does annoy other characters, and other characters do poke fun at him for like no one listens to that. It's pretty much taken word for word from Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. It's one of those little niche things that I actually really liked. And like I said, the element they use to tweak it is that it helps him to focus now, and that wasn't really present in the original. But it's something that will help him focus, and that's why it's going to come up again. So.
Yeah. And then I'm going to jump to the part that I think was the most emotional for me in this movie, which is after Buzz does multiple test flights to try to find a way to hyperspeed them out of the planet that they're marooned on. He returns to find Hawthorne's office empty, only with one video digital pad, which is a goodbye message of Hawthorne, like in bedridden in what appears to be a hospital bed, explaining to Buzz that she's old and dying, and her granddaughter comes in to visit, and how she wants to be just like Buzz, and then like correction that she just wants to be like her grandma. I think that was the most touching scene in the movie to me.
Yeah, we kind of in the way that Up built a romance story, we got a lot of Hawthorne in the flashes as time kept going forward, and Buzz kept trying to fix his mistake. I did feel this scene as well. I thought it was one of the better scenes in the movie. In a movie that I didn't really feel slowed down enough for us to really, sit with the character a lot. This was one scene I thought was very, very powerful, where it did slow down and kind of allow the events to sink in a little more of what was really going on. Yeah,
because beforehand it was all kind of montage. It was the same shot over and over of failing the mission, walking to their quarters, seeing Hawthorne grow up, and then driving back next flight, same thing over and over in a montage style.
Yeah.
So.
And just jumping off of that a little bit, I will say one thing I really liked about this, and I feel like it's very, very rare, and I appreciate whenever somebody actually uses it in a sci-fi movie, is the time dilation of space travel.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they actually did that in this. I mean, even for like thematics, I'm happy. Even without thematics, I'm glad they used it.
It's funny because in my notes I'm like I wrote down the importance of math is gone, and then 5 minutes later, oh my god, they're doing math.
Yeah.
I really liked that. That pulled me. That did put a smile on my face for sure.
Which I connect to. I think it's one of the quotes Buzz says. I think it's on the first test flight. He says like a lifelong amount of what was it? A lifetime of
a year's worth of.
Yeah, a lifetime. He said a lifetime of research for a 4-minute test flight or something. Which to me connects to every time he uses it, it goes 4 years, which eventually is Hawthorne's lifetime.
Yes.
Which to me was a nice connection between the quote and what was happening.
Yeah. I don't know if they said lifetime, but
yeah. I mean,
I like the quote.
Something along those lines. Yeah.
It would be good if they did say that, because that is cool.
I guess.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'll hop around a bit as well. So as Star Command exists in this universe, so I got they explicitly state that it does exist. So I got really confused when Star Command didn't show up to help them. I didn't like. Was it implied that the ship was a deep space? The turnip was a deep space research vessel? Because I would have expected Star Command to have shown up at some point.
Well, I don't think they specified deep space, but it was exploratory, so
yeah. So they
could have just been outside the reach, unexplored areas.
I guess. Well, I'm not the expert in this scenario, but wouldn't that not kind of be the same with like Star Trek? Like if the Enterprise gets attacked and alone, they don't really send out more ships to go help.
I mean, depends on their show, really.
Yeah.
It's because it does depend on location and stuff like that. The problem is I don't know where we are other than the Gamma Quadrant. It's
Well,
kind
at
of
least from-
it's a as far as I understand it's because we know that Star Command exists, so I think this is something that would have been easily repaired if they had mentioned something beyond Star Command's normal range. Because if we're gonna
Yeah.
if I'm gonna bring up Star Trek here, Starfleet is it very much depends of where you are in the galaxy. The Alpha Quadrant being where Starfleet normally operates in most canon shows. If you're within that area, you can expect a Starfleet ship to show up within 10 days at the outside. Obviously, if you're beyond that, if you're not in the Alpha Quadrant, you're stuck in the Gamma Quadrant, it will take you years to get home. So it's very much... It's definitely it's a tiny world building issue that I think presents itself, but they could have solved it with a throwaway line. Because it's...
The one thing I can think of is Buzz is trying to get the crystal formula to create a way to get home, correct? So,
Yeah.
which shows that anyone on the turnip did not have that formula. They only had, to my belief, they had one crystal of use.
Yeah.
Which is to my understanding, Star Command did not have that. They don't have that crystal of use to get to help them. They didn't have that formula to just send ships to help them.
Or, well, also, though, you could argue that for something like that, obviously they couldn't just have you make it wherever you wanted, because then they wouldn't be able to sell it, or they wouldn't, you know what I mean? That's how I kind of read that situation. I was like, well, obviously they couldn't just give you everything, because why would you ever need to make a new crystal? I don't know.
It'd be
I
weird
agree
if that was
with
the
it.
only ship with the crystal, because they're able to make it on a planet.
Oh,
just from the planet's resources.
It was that the turnip, I believe, was a test. It was the brand new thing. So,
Okay.
but that also pokes hole in the thing of like, why wouldn't they send out to get their one, like something that they spent billions of dollars on?
Yeah. And
We
also
don't know how far they are.
we don't know how far they are, one. And another thing is that this formula would theoretically already exist in the same way that E equals MC squared does. So it's a world building problem that bleeds over into, the rest of the movie in order to facilitate the plot happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I could believably, though, they don't outright say it, so you're still technically correct. But I could believe that, obviously, if they're going on an exploratory mission, they're probably not supposed to be back for a very, very, very long time. So it'd probably take a while before they'd notice there was an issue.
Yeah.
And then also, on top of that, it would probably take them just almost as long to actually get out to, rescue them. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The issue is, like I said, a minor one that could have been fixed with throwaway lines. So I'm not gonna get hung up on it. I just wanted to kind of bring it up.
I gotcha.
I mean, I think it's stated, and we can talk about this because it's in Act 1, it's stated that... Oh, never mind, it's in Act 2. My mistake. But I will take this opportunity to... I will take this opportunity to move to another scene of introducing Socks.
The
Socks
best
are
character.
good. They kind of fit in shoes. So.
Yeah.
Yes, Crimson, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Socks with an X, not a CK.
Oh, okay. The cat. Yes.
I
I remember
thought
the
you were
cat.
talking about the baseball team.
Shoot, I forgot. Yeah, Socks
Red
definitely the
Sox.
best character.
The best. Yeah, if the whole movie was just Socks, it would be like the top 10 for me.
Socks was surprisingly an endearing character for me. He is the character I came into this movie really, really worried about. I'm like, oh, they're just gonna overplay this as they do with like droids now in Star Wars. They're just gonna,
There
beat
to sell toys.
They're there to sell toys, and they're gonna beat you over the head with just a poor comedy routine. And you know what? I actually like Socks. Socks was a good character. Very
This was going to be this comedic, annoying character that is always there, but I agree.
That comes later. That comes later.
Yeah.
Misa Socks.
Yeah.
Socks was very good. There is one little detail I'd like to point out. I don't know if any of you caught it, but when Buzz is, I think it's the first time back when he meets Socks, he opens up a pantry drawer to get food, and there's only 3 shelves in the cupboard of breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, and they're all MREs pretty much.
Yeah, but at the very beginning, I think, of lunch, there's one singular box that says brunch on it.
Not catch that.
No, that is not one I caught. But yeah,
I also like that Socks is pivotal. He actually affects the plot.
Yeah,
Kind of like how Ryder was saying, like droids now in Star Wars are just there to sell toys or make jokes and whatnot.
Actually, the ones that don't speak.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean,
I would
R2.
I would definitely compare Socks to an R2D2 type character, only with a voice.
Yeah.
And
so C-3PO.
Well, C-3PO has functions differently than R2D2.
Because R2D2 is cute, but he also serves a purpose.
Yeah.
Like he is Luke's droid or he's Anakin's droid, and he helps him in battle and he moves the story forward in his own way.
And I think
he opens doors.
I think Socks' introduction as a therapy animal, pretty much a therapy pet, is actually very reasonable in terms of like, you would this would be something that you would do when you're running something like Star Command, or you're trapped on a planet when someone's going out for a year and coming back and they've missed 4 years of their life. They would need therapy. So the idea of combining your therapist into a therapeutic pet that would help. I think it's a very powerful,
especially a robotic one.
Yeah,
because
especially in the future,
if you come back 4 years later and your pet is aged, with Socks, it's the exact same.
Yeah. Oh wow! I think my whole room just shook. Am I in an earthquake right now?
I thought you were getting out of it.
No,
I
just tensed up. Sorry.
My mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
With that, anyone else have any last minute talking points on Act 1?
Do we have to talk? Should we mention the infamous on-screen kiss that everybody was super upset about? Somebody said that a lot of people were upset about, and then we saw it and we're like, it wasn't bad. It's okay.
A lot of people were talking about this same-sex interaction. This whatever it would be, and it it's blown up, and there was a lot of talk about it, a lot of people with it and against it, and it was like this big thing. And in the movie, if you clicked on this, you're listening to this now, so you more than likely know it's in the movie for 2 seconds.
Yeah. The only relevancy to this is that they have a kid.
Yeah. The only thing I wrote in my notes regarding that scene is just the pregnant lady. I'm like, wow, I want backstory.
Yeah,
future tech.
Yeah, it's obviously like a fantasy sort of thing. So I'm not opposed to the idea. I didn't need an explanation. I'm like, all right, this is a world that can happen.
No.
All right.
Crimson. When we got the movie, he wanted to know. He wanted to see the inseminations. What he told me. He said, I need to see this. They can't just. And I was like, why would you want to see that? He was like, I have to.
Crimson. I don't believe it. Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's exactly what I said. You're right. I needed it in 4K, but they just
they took it away. They said no.
Anyway, it was blown out of proportion.
Yeah,
I will say for what was actually on screen.
I because
which doesn't surprise me at all, unfortunately.
I usually when they introduce, I think a let's just say like a gay character, doesn't have to be, but I think it tends to go into the form of almost stereotyping. not even with them trying. They're trying to do it right, and it just ends up stereotyping. I thought this was very good. It was short and sweet. You didn't really labor on it too much. You just accepted it. Like that's
there was no enough time to linger on it to know if they were stereotyping them or not. They were just there, and I'm like, I just shrugged. I'm like, okay, this is the relationship she has now.
What I think is a bit odd is it blew up for, and maybe it's because of age targeting.
Yeah,
Pixar's more. Kids opposed to Multiverse of Madness, which also had same-sex stuff in it, which to me, it was longer, there was more of it, but that didn't blow out of proportion. Lightyear did.
Yeah, it's probably because it was targeted kids. Like, that to me makes, unfortunately, that makes sense as to why people got angry about it.
Did they kissed in Multiverse of Madness, right? It was basically the same thing, right?
They did.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know.
Well, I think for Lightyear, it was a couple things. One was it was originally going to get removed, but then it received backlash, and they decided to keep it in.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was good. Yeah, that's fine.
The other is I just think, like the people behind the movie or actors speaking out, kind of just fanning the flames, didn't help either.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's probably the main issue is the online social media stuff, not the actual movie.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I'm gonna do a quick run through of important things that I think happened in Act 1. Buzz actively refused help from the rookie while committing his mistake. Vines were part of the reason. The plant life on this planet's alive and will attack and eat you pretty much. And that's played for comedy, and it looks like everyone's nonchalant about it at certain points when Buzz, their one pilot that has volunteered for this, is getting dragged through the streets and no one reacts. They just stare on like, oh, okay, I guess no one gives a shit anymore.
It almost seemed like they were going to leave him behind at one point.
I know.
Everyone forgot about him.
Yeah, there was like the world building in this became very, very painful at that point. Let's see. Do I have anything else? Those are the main ones for just life on the ground, I guess. They did kind of montage through them building the city in a year. I was fine with that. The fact that plants were still getting in and people acted nonchalantly about that was a problem. I know there was like a breach alarm that played, but like that still requires a reaction. And what ruins those particular moments even more is because they upset scenes that could have been very, very character developing, where Buzz is dealing with the frustration of his failure, is like we're not left to contemplate that in silence. He's not talking about it. He's not doing anything with it. He just gets pulled by a vine, and that's pretty much the end of that.
Yeah, I think this is probably a wider ranging topic that we'll probably discuss towards the end, but I just want to touch on. I do think there's a little bit of like a tonal battle happening through most of this movie, where they can't really decide where they really want to take it, and I think that does hinder it, especially from what you've been talking about, Geek, of kind of seriously toned scenes that kind of get interrupted for the sake of a little sight gag kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I will say that's probably one of the bigger problems I have with this. Just that I think they weren't really sure, because it's for kids, so they can't really go too far. But I do think they had something here where they could have balanced it out, and
that
they just didn't.
Yeah, the tonal clash is one of the issues that I'll definitely help summarize later. I'm just pretty much laying the foundation for that later down the line, because it is something that I think really keeps this movie from being great. And because children's movies, Pixar has done this. Their movies are entirely capable of having very, very deep, rich characters and letting the audience contemplate their own flaws with the character and things like that. They're entirely capable of telling that story. So becomes upsetting the further we go along. But yeah, that's the foundation of that is in the first act for sure, because they're clearly trying to juxtaposition to tone. Yeah, they're trying to apply juxtaposition to tone in a way that's not as smooth as a movie like Thor Ragnarok does it, and it's it does get frustrating as we go down. Go get on later. But that's, I think, is everything else I have for Act 1. So
I guess this is a nitpick, and I'm looking too much into it, but
go for it. Go. We'll drag you over the coals. Come on.
Yeah. So this little, I guess, village they make through the year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they were able to keep the vines and bugs out.
Neither do I. Yeah.
Because they show when they introduce the village, like up close and stuff, a bug getting zapped at the wall, and it's just that little fence. It's not a big dome, because that's what a character later down the line wants. So the whole sky isn't protected from these bugs, but just a tiny little fence around the wall. So the bugs could constantly just be flying in every day, 24/7.
Yeah.
Or whatever the day cycle is on that planet is.
Yeah, it's a small fence that a bug walks into. I guess it shows the intelligence of the bugs.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing preventing the vines from entering, as we saw.
Yeah.
Other than there's an alarm. They could be attacking constantly.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem that they introduce, but they don't really. That it's like they refuse to address the consequences of how it was dealt with for a year, essentially.
Ryder, as you said, it was just more for comedic than anything. When Buzz gets dragged off, it gets chopped and fine. But later, when he's in his test flight, I forget the character's name, but the scientist talking to him gets grabbed.
And he's in mission control. It's my god! I forgot about that. Yeah,
I don't know how the people are still alive after a year on this planet.
Yeah, like I said, it's
the first time we see the vines, they were savage. They tried taking down the ship. They tried to kill all 3 of the Rangers on the ground, but they managed to make a village. Crazy.
It's one of those things that like they introduce it without really thinking about the consequences of what they introduce.
Well, Crimson, the turnip, where it currently is, the ground is not unstable. But where the vines were, it was unstable.
What do you mean? We still see the vines under the village.
I liked your tone when you said that.
Well, but when exploring, Buzz is like the terrain's a bit unstable, which is a callback to Andy's bed, which is why the vines are like breaking the ground and earthquaking and everything. And but later on, when they're building the village, there's no. It doesn't show the village breaking or sinkholes or.
Yeah, it's just like every once in a while a vinyl comes.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's just
worried about them creating earthquakes and destroying the terrain, but if they can pop out just in a tiny hole, that's enough to be a problem.
So, but you learn to live with it. Over the course
that's what they did.
I guess it's looking into it too much because they didn't.
No,
I guess
I'll freely agree that like they set it up. They left it because they could use it for a gag, or they could revisit. But unfortunately, it also pokes holes in their whole societal development.
Yeah, now that's
rough with the smooth.
Yeah, that's the issue with what that to me is the pretty much the issue with what they did is that they introduced something for the sake of a joke, but aren't willing to grapple with the consequences of what they introduced for that joke, because it implies that life here for this year has been very, very hard, but we have no. It's still played for a gag, and we have no insight to it, essentially.
Like, I mean, I know if I was getting grabbed by a vine every single day of every hour, I wouldn't create a whole village in about a year. It just wouldn't happen. Even if they gave me sci-fi tech.
And I'm going to assume you guys remember the Toy Stories more than I. Does Buzz ever try to activate invisibility as a toy?
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay. So
That-
I feel like he should have tried that at some point if he had it.
At least
That
when he thought it
is-
was a toy. Yeah.
I'll
You're
bring that up
talking about
late if you can
so
remind me.
weird.
If you can remind me to bring that up later, I think I might have a reason as to that.
Okay.
So,
Because we get introduced to the invisibility during their initial landing.
yes.
We didn't really talk
Yeah.
about that much.
I just like the idea of a toy trying to activate invisibility on himself.
Well, yeah, he's like invisibility activated, and he runs around thinking he's invisible, and everyone's like, "Buzz, what are you doing?"
That would be really fun.
And then he's
Actually,
like, "Oh
you
my
know
god,
what?
I'm not real."
That'd be pretty funny. It's like, oh my god. See, but wouldn't that cause like more of an issue though
It would.
for his character in that movie?
That
but
would
it's-
shatter his view immediately. The moment
Yeah,
they
yeah.
see him.
Well,
So
a nice
all
little
that build-up.
connection I can say to that from Toy
Uh.
Story to this is when Socks activates, Buzz drops Socks and goes into a like a kung fu pose, which kind of
Reminiscent
connects
of,
to his
yeah.
in Toy Story his what was it, karate chop action?
Yeah,
Yes.
my favorite feature.
Mm-hmm.
Was that ever like a real thing? That had to have been, right?
For
On a action
karate
figure
chop?
or for
No,
what?
I mean like an actual toy history. Like there had to have been something that, right? That's the thing.
well, there were a lot of old toys with karate chop
I'm
action.
like, there's a lot of like those WWE toys where you like squeeze the legs
Yeah.
together and they punch. And
I know. I remember hating those.
Or there's the
They-
tiny lever on the back, or you push
Did you
down
ever-
on their head, or there's a lot of.
Did you ever hit your cousin in the nose with one of those?
I've never
No.
hit my cousin. Any
No.
of them.
But
I might have just
Sinister,
given
did you
some
have
information
any?
away.
Sinister, did you have any closing things to say on Act One?
No, I think I made my stuff with bumping off of Geeks points.
Okay.
I will say the one thing that made me really like this movie in general, even with all the tonal issues, was just that they actually talked about time dilation, because it's a real thing, and honestly, it's very rare that
It's
something will actually talk about it.
I will say, because I not to brag, I study physics as a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I write sci-fi for fun. So whenever
Mhm.
something's leaning heavily into that and being accurate about it, I will get giddy. So that was a nice notch to me, for me anyway, personally, because I also enjoyed that as well.
Well, and the weird thing is I think a couple months ago we were talking about like that thing in time dilation, and I was saying, I was like, I haven't seen a movie in a while that's like actually like a newer one, or like there's not really that much that talk. And then we picked a movie that picked, not randomly, we picked a movie, but that actually had it be a plot point. So that was a cool coincidence. But yeah, that's all I got for Act One.
I'll just throw out my favorite joke was in Act One, which was the white noise joke.
Yeah.
Box.
I
Or
did.
gag.
That was a good joke.
It's a
Yeah.
gag, yeah.
I think that was probably my
Yeah.
second. My last. I'll bring up my favorite one later when it comes up, obviously.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
But we also
what was
see
the-
Buzz have a nightmare that night about
Oh yeah,
the
he's
failure.
yeah, about the
Socks'
crash.
head in his outfit.
Yeah, that is probably pretty creepy. Honestly, that's probably pretty creepy for Pixar.
I will say my last thing for Act One is I like how they didn't move along with it or move away from it, or make it comedic. But Buzz is fully responsible for his actions. He's a little cocky with like thinking he can pull up the ship, pull up the turnip in time, and like do all these things because he's trained and he's not a rookie. But he like court martials himself and handcuffs himself and takes full responsibility for his actions, which I think is a very good thing to show of his character.
Yeah, it shows he's very understanding of like what he did wrong, and it is a nice flaw to add to his character, that cockiness that he thinks he can fix this. And
You don't need no rookies.
yeah, It is a nice flaw to add to his character that I thought was a nice facet. It doesn't really ruin what comes before. It just exaggerates it, and I'm okay with that. For if this being a pretty much a solo movie.
Okay, and with that, we'll move on to Act 2, which is the Burnside office conversation chat, right after the Hawthorne goodbye message, all the way up to pretty much defeating the Zerg bot with the Junior Patrol.
Junior Patrol.
And with this, I'll go with Ryder. If you have a first talking point on this act, you'd like to go over.
Burnside was introduced in a very, very verbose manner. Like it's played to be insulting to Lightyear almost. He's very, very clinical. And it's definitely much from the perspective, like if you hadn't picked up on it before with all of the Hawthorne's previous, flashback scenes and stuff like that, and you can see her life pretty much in flashes, whatever Lightyear sees, and that montage of him trying to fix his problem, this is kind of the culmination of it, where the people who've lived here for a whole lifetime, essentially a whole generation was born and grown up here now. 62 years has passed, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
62 years, 5 months, 6 days. There we go.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up last time, but that's actually in Act 2, so I stopped myself. But Socks states that it took him 62 years to come up with the formula.
To come up with the formula, yeah. And so this whole so the idea that the generation that grows up on this planet would want to leave, obviously they wouldn't. This is home now. They're used to vines killing people randomly, I guess.
It's a small price to pay.
Yeah.
Laser shield.
Yep, and which is the Burnside's solution actually makes a lot of sense. It just would have been. I think it would have implemented a long time ago.
They've been too busy getting killed to implement it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think he was probably a character on the side. I mean, he's been there for a while because his age and how he's shown is definitely older. So I believe Hawthorne, was in charge this whole time, and at the passing of Hawthorne, he took over. So I think these are probably ideas he brought up about the shield, and Hawthorne said, no, it's important to stick to the Lightyear mission and do all these things. So when she passed, Burnside said, that hasn't been working for centuries now, or decades, decades now, not centuries. Yeah. It's been working for decades now. So let's move on to the laser shield.
I would like to say I liked how he said it every time.
Yes. Me too. It was awesome. Yeah. I got the impression that he was actually someone he was born here and he grew up here. That's the impression I got from Burnside. I didn't think he was an underling for Hawthorne. Well, I mean, I guess he technically would have been because yeah. Never mind. I picked up what you were putting down. Took me a minute.
To get to her position.
Yeah.
He definitely had.
Yeah, but he wasn't on the mission originally, and then was an assistant or something for years. No. Yeah, mm-hmm. He was definitely born there and grew up, and then became. Yeah.
So yeah, Burnside is kind of introduced as a bit of a antagonist to our main hero. Yeah. He's not a villain, but he is. But he is an antagonist in that he shuts Lightyear down. He shuts the project down.
Shuts the project down
in the weirdest way I could imagine.
Yeah,
and also wants to decommission Socks, which is essentially killing him. So, which to his side is proper protocol, but to be seen through the protagonist is an antagonist move to do. Mm-hmm. Killing off the sidekick.
What was his reasoning for it?
I don't remember. Oh well,
Buzz would still need a therapy cat.
Well, I think it wasn't he being technically retired essentially? I mean,
he was being grounded.
It was the Lightyear mission was over, so all assets of the Lightyear mission would be taken away.
Yeah. So which Socks was a member of. So.
And I don't. This is part that doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why they would take a therapy cat away if this is supposed to be, an intelligent character. Because the guy missed 62 years, needs therapy. Yeah. I get that he might want to replace Socks, I mean, because 62 years have passed. I'm
Yeah.
assuming there's something better out there than socks.
Well, 62 years as a whole, every 4-year gap he does return.
Yes.
For a couple of weeks or something.
Yeah. No, I mean, but
Writer's saying
I mean that
technology has advanced, you would think. So there's probably a better version of
the
socks.
the idea
Yeah.
that was
Socks X.
yeah the
Socks.
the implement but they play it up for that. It's like they're just shutting it down, and that to me didn't make much sense other than to create
Yeah.
tension.
Yeah, I agree with that. It didn't add up to me. If they just wiped his memory or something, that's another thing. That they were just gonna like kill it.
Yeah.
Throw in a furnace.
I mean, I read it at the time as like they knew that he'd been working on like the formula, and so obviously if they're not going to do that, there's no point in having the formula. So just get rid of him. But
Okay.
now,
Now that
you brought
makes
that,
sense
so I
if they
don't.
showed it.
Okay.
Yeah, see, that's my thing. Yeah.
And then
Didn't
see
show that
if
part.
that was the intention, that just creates more holes. Because
Yeah.
why would you deny yourself the ability to hyperspeed travel? Even if you're building a civilization on this planet, eventually you're gonna wanna, leave.
One thought
I-
does
yeah,
come to mind
Yeah.
of Socks was given to Buzz from Hawthorne of said mission to help cope him. So Buzz more than likely, and Burnside, of course, probably knows all the mechanics of Socks and how intelligent this animal can be, or this service animal. So Buzz more than likely gave thoughts and help to Socks that Socks helped with, so all this information that Socks holds. But it's also stated a little bit later that when Socks uses a blow dart to knock out a guard, Buzz asks if that was intended for him, which could think that to Burnside's Socks could be a threat to Buzz if Socks believes the mission's still going when Buzz can't, because the mission's ended.
Burnside
So it could
does not care about Buzz.
Yeah.
Well, it just could be a danger, is what I'm saying. So that's could be one of the reasons to decommission Socks.
Asleep.
So.
That doesn't hold water because it's a knockout dart that lasts 5 minutes. That's enough to get. That's pretty much
Yeah,
enough to get
that was-
security.
That was just meant to show that, like,
That's
oh,
just an
I've
indication
been-
of one thing that
That's
Socks
if the
can
patient
do.
goes cuckoo.
Yeah.
so yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
oh, because he didn't realize that, like, because it's a therapy cat, he didn't realize that, oh, if I had like gone like, like if I had just been like a bad guy, he would have
Turned
darted
into
me.
Mrs. Nesbit.
Yeah, you would have darted me. Yeah, he didn't expect it.
But I do believe that throughout the whole of the movie, we did not see every single action that
I mean,
Socks could do. So I think there are some things that are not shown.
Are you
That-
saying they got rid of every single therapy animal then?
Here's the thing, right? Here's something. So they're decommissioning the mission. Socks is a part of the mission and everything. They're taking him away. He wouldn't technically need like a robotic therapy animal anymore because he's not going to be going on any missions with time dilation. So he could see like an actual therapist.
Which again is
Yeah.
something that they definitely would have said.
Yeah, Crimson.
I don't know. They kind of set Burnside up to be this kind of cold, bureaucratic guy. I doubt he would just like be like, oh, by the way, you can go get some. I mean, I know you're saying for like, the purposes of storytelling, but I don't know. It didn't feel, like I said, it didn't feel that weird to me when I was watching it. But granted, I had a totally different idea of what was going on then, and now I see it was incorrect. But I don't think it was the worst possible thing.
Yeah, to Crimson's question of did they decommission every therapy animal, even when Buzz was coming back to, I guess it didn't show much of the whole village, but just of his chambers with Socks, there is no other robotic animal walking about or shown.
No,
Socks is the only one, which could be, yes, they were all decommissioned, or they could have been technologically advanced and there's newer versions. The only really sign to that is Derek, but his intention was not for being a therapy
Yeah.
droid. So that's just something that's never explained, but it doesn't seem like they're all over.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird. Like I said, it's definitely something where putting it in makes a lot of questions that I don't know. It wouldn't. I think if they answered all of them, or
Might bore the audience.
Yeah. So, but unfortunately, they still put it in, so it doesn't really excuse it. But I'm I can understand.
Spring, so it doesn't have to be a whole monologue to bore the audience. It could be a quick one-off line to explain something.
Wasn't that
yes,
just
yes,
no,
no,
really cheap though?
Decommissioned socks. That's all they say.
No, I understand. I get that. I meant with what Sinister was saying, like to answer all these questions, if they did it, in that span, I think it would be a slower, boring part with, and so far their slow parts have been very character heavy of emotion. So in that regard, I think the slowest so far has just been the dilation talk, which was slow, but it was still educational to the point. But answering these questions in that sense might be a bit boring. But Crimson, if it was just like a one answer to one question at a point, then yeah that would have been completely fine. So on both on what you're saying. So.
Yeah, I mean this also pretty much just leads right into Lightyear deciding to continue the mission because they did choose to decommission socks. And
that's what he's upset about.
Yeah, and they that realizes that Lightyear is just going to take him with him to complete the mission because now they have the access to the formula.
Well, Lightyear was, correct me if I'm wrong, but Lightyear was first. Buzz was fine with. He was sad, and he's like, "Oh, you're going to be decommissioned," but then Socks states that he figured out the formula, and that's when Buzz goes, "Oh, you can't be decommissioned now."
I'm trying to remember. I think Socks said he had the formula first before Buzz found out. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he found out he had the formula.
He went to his normal montage.
Yeah, he had him at the table, and he found out he was going to be. He gives him the formula. They talk about it, and then he finds out he's going to be decommissioned because they show up to then take his socks because the project's being shut down.
Okay, so Burnside never
closes the door.
So Burnside never stated it.
No, Burnside never said anything about shutting socks down.
Okay, it wasn't until the two guards arrived at the door.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when he makes the decision, pretty much.
Okay, that was my slight confusion.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like I said, Burnside hasn't really shown himself to be very appreciative of
Buzz.
Buzz's efforts, and I mean, which makes sense because he's coming from a bureaucratic side. It's a waste of resources. It's a waste of time.
There's also the slight likelihood that was the first time Buzz and Burnside interacted ever.
Oh yeah,
that was.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, that's the other part of this that I do kind of like is this whole idea of having a person who's only a hero to a certain generation, and then the other generation has no idea who they are because they're so disconnected. I kind of like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because technically, Buzz Lightyear, as far as we've established, in the a little bit of in the first act part, is and was a hero, but the newer generation that has grown up when he does all of his test flights and everything have no idea of that, and it's just kind of like stories, and they have
especially after 15 failures with like nothing to add.
Yeah. And they're all just growing up. Yeah.
It's all just trial and errors, and it's a waste of resource.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
So we're moving.
Yeah, Sinister, you take a new point in Act 2.
New point? Okay, in Act 2. So, yeah, I guess the weird... So, he decides he's just going to steal, an aircraft and everything, and I think it's the first one that he tested, or
I think it's the one he arrived on. He just did. I think they decommissioned all the other ones that he's arrived with.
Yeah,
I don't think
in
they
theory,
save all 15.
Yeah, because in theory, the tech just keeps getting better and better. So it would be the latest one I think he would steal.
I think
So,
it's the newest. Yeah. So he does the test, and it actually works. However, because of the time dilation, he still goes 4 years into the future.
Well,
And
I think because it was a success, he actually went 22 years.
oh,
He
is
went
that
22.
Just double
I
checking.
fucked up? So my
Yeah.
first point, I blew it.
Was
Yeah, because it's
that?
successful testing, it went 22 years versus the original 4.
Okay, now I have a follow-up question. Is why does that? How does?
Why?
Yeah, why?
I don't know.
Well, he did go faster.
Yes, but that
But-
wouldn't.
Oh, wait, wasn't that a thing that? No, he like.
Yeah, they said the faster you go, the longer the time is. Right?
Yeah.
Is this because he achieved hyperspace flight? That's
Yeah,
why.
he achieved. Yeah,
Think
he
so.
achieved it. Yeah, he achieved it.
Okay.
So technically, yeah.
From the point around the sun to the, I don't know what they were called, the slow down hoops, the rings,
Yeah.
was a
which-
faster time.
I just call them I just call them the rail rings pretty much because that's what they would.
Yeah.
They would.
I mean, yeah.
They're if they're magnetic accelerators, you can slow a ship down. That was easy enough for me to explain away with my fucking scientific brain.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah, so my first point, I blew it. It goes 22 years into the future, and now the laser dome, or what was it? Laser shield. I'm 0 for 2. Laser shield is up, and he encounters a robot, if you will.
Yes, the Zerg bots are here.
The
Yeah.
Zerg bots. You remember those guys? Those
Well,
guys
these
in
ones don't have little clones coming out of their shoulders.
I was so disappointed. I wanted them to do
They
it.
also don't have any arm cannons.
They also don't like shoot little balls at people.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think that was Zerg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
he doesn't do that either. Spoiler.
I don't remember when he came back into the atmosphere. Was
Yeah.
he flying at the city, or did he just crash land into the woods?
I think
He was
I
flying
think
towards the city, but he noticed the shield
Yeah.
was up. So
yeah, so he had to he had to change his course
And
quickly, and unfortunately, it was like nothing but jungle out there.
it's a
Very
jungle out
reminiscent of
there.
it.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Very reminiscent of a planet named Dagobah. Has a little green man on it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, aesthetically for sure. I have to point it out because I know it's done for reveal later, but
do it. Come on.
he would notice that Zerg's ship is in orbit.
Yes.
I get that they're trying to save it for a reveal, but he would notice. It's kind of a hard thing to miss.
Stop it. Stop making our audience feel like this
No,
movie isn't super
It's
on point masterpiece.
it's a bit of a problem.
No, it's a pain. Especially since the rings are probably pretty close, like directly up from the base. He doesn't have to go around the whole planet.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Could he?
Theoretically, he
What?
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 well, I guess with that point then.
Why you do this shit here, Crimson? Come on.
Okay, fine. I'll bring up the part before he leaves of
Okay.
him freaking screwing up and breaking the formula, making the new crystal.
There you go.
Okay.
So we can never make another crystal.
I forgot about that. Oh, I was so
God.
pissed off. It makes no sense. The robot would remember it, and he could just
Robot would remember it.
tell Lightyear to write it down. It doesn't make sense. That was terrible throwaway line. Terrible thing played for the sake of a joke. Just
I don't think it was a joke. I think that was more just so the plot wouldn't break itself. But
Yeah, it's the one and only crystal.
yeah.
Yeah. What an only formula that was on that iPad.
has to ensure
Wasn't it an iPad?
the MacGuffin is a MacGuffin.
It was a light pad. Get it?
Hmm.
I didn't hear what.
I said it was a light pad.
Funny.
Uh,
Funny. Was there anything else from that scene?
yeah.
Covered both ends of that.
He crash lands, and then no one is there to greet him. Like he was expecting someone to come
Yeah,
pick
he
him
was
up.
like, Wait, I did
Well,
it,
it
guys.
is-
I did it.
No, he does fire a flare off because he didn't actually land on the landing strip.
Yeah, he
And
lands
then
near the woods.
Yeah.
The woods. And then he gets tackled by
Izzy,
But Izzy,
who he thinks is Hawthorne because they resemble. I mean, it's Hawthorne's granddaughter. So
not that crazy. Though.
But
And then he finds out all about the
I'm not going to
Zergs.
say that actually.
well, he finds out then from Socks that they've been gone 22 years, and that wasn't something. Well, I guess that wasn't something Socks originally said on landing. But then again, it does seem like Socks does hold emotion because Socks said that was ultimately terrifying.
yeah.
I'm sorry I came with you. That was
Socks isn't very strictly like robot like Buzz. There's been a calculation error. We've been gone 22 years until he's asked. He brings it up.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone I know is dead.
And on the descent was the success confetti.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That amused me.
It makes no sense, and it's a safety hazard, but it was funny.
It was very, very much a Sword Art Online abridged kind of joke. They get through the big boss battle, people have died, and then the fucking confetti shoots out.
I can safely say Crimson was sitting next to me in the movie theater. He was wearing his three-piece suit, top hat and monocle, and his gloves, and was like, "He's very amusing." Confetti.
Why'd you tell him that I dressed up to go to the theaters?
Man, you didn't.
Well, we didn't go to see. Well, it didn't really make sense because we weren't seeing Minions, so I was really confused. But
I get it. You guys went to AMC this time instead of Regal. Got it.
Hey, you were with us. You were there.
It was just a dark theater.
I'm gonna bring out just the one little complaint that's more of a nitpick. There are no LGMs in this movie, and that's a crime against humanity.
What are you talking about?
Little green men. There's no little green men in this movie.
I said that in the theater. I yelled it out, and I made everyone really uncomfortable.
There's no LGMs. It's part of Buzz's character.
Maybe they're the evolution of the plants of that planet. Did you think about that?
Oh, please stop.
Please.
Those vines turn into them. Can you not figure that out? They're green. They're both green. So connect the dots.
You are one of us. You are the chosen.
That's why they just wanted to embrace them.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? See, here's the thing. Wasn't there a throwaway line where the vines are all connected to one thing? Like they all run through like a hive mind or something like that? Well,
if there was, I don't remember.
In the part, it's like the first act, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
there might have been a throwaway line to that. Because you brought it up, I actually point out that is technically an origin story they can use now for Little Green Men.
There we go. I'm helping the writing already.
Pixar, get on it when you don't make a second one, because this movie did not do very well. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's technically a fact, so yeah.
Yeah, that was a fact we did not say in the beginning. Yeah, so they encounter the Zerg Armada.
Well, they find Izzy.
Yeah, Izzy's like, quiet. I hear you.
What can hear me?
And what about that disease scene stands out to you, Sinister?
The disease scene?
The Izzy scene.
Oh. I was like, where was there a disease? It's kind of, because it's like setting up a very sort of like, oh, this is like a bounty hunter or like a mercenary like badass thing, and then it's like, no, I'm just Izzy, or I'm real to be Hawthorne's descendant,
Granddaughter.
great granddaughter. It's great granddaughter, right? Or is it just granddaughter?
No, just normal granddaughter.
Huh. Would have been cooler if it was great granddaughter.
It was only 62 years. So.
Yeah.
No, it was 84.
Oh, okay, from this point, yeah.
Yeah. 84 years.
That's still...
On Buzz's final mission in the Hawthorne video, Izzy crawls into the bed with Hawthorne to say she wants to be a space ranger, and she's probably, because she's speaking, I'd guess 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So
She's like
then jump
29.
22 years from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she is grown up
Almost
now,
30.
and
Yeah.
she fills Buzz in on why no one's coming to get him because of the flare, and why there's a robot out there hunting them.
Yeah, and it's weirdly, it's a very they do like a 22-year gap. Granted, I know it's probably just so Izzy can be like a grown up or whatever, but then they're like, yeah, this Zerg thing only happened in like the last like month or so, or like a couple weeks. It's like, what? But yeah, and then meets the Junior Patrol, right? Yeah.
Well, there was one. They had the whole talk of like socks and stuff between the three of them, and Izzy pet socks, and Buzz didn't know what petting was, which blew my freaking mind.
No, he didn't say that.
I didn't get that. I thought he was surprised that socks could purr.
Yeah,
like because he just didn't explore that. He just didn't explore that feature.
That's surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I gathered from that conversation. Huh?
Look at you trying so hard to make
I
Buzz
wrote that
Lightyear look
down
like a
in
fool.
the theater.
Oh no, the movie makes Buzz Lightyear look like a fool enough. I don't have to.
I would love it if you had stewed on that. Just like freaking Buzz Lightyear didn't know what petting was. What the hell?
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's for me that scene came off as it was just a feature that Buzz never explored because he never took the time to.
Yeah, it was only there for like what? Probably a week in between every 4 years. So.
Oh, I'm fair enough.
Well, I don't know the time between the launches, though, right?
Yeah.
We don't.
I thought it was the same day or anything.
I thought it was there. I thought he was there for like a day, pretty much. Then he left the next day. That's kind of what I got out of it.
He needs to sleep. He needs to eat.
Yep.
Yeah, his big ass piece of steak every dinner.
Yeah, his rubber steak.
I love that. That was awesome.
I
wish MREs were like that.
Then
I wouldn't.
We meet the rest of the Junior Patrol. I think is what we do next, right?
The professional.
Yes.
Everybody.
Oh boy, I have nothing good to say about the Junior Patrol. Well, okay, no, they have actually they have my favorite joke, but I don't have anything nice to say to them about that. There is a, I think it's in this scene that they find out that they need a pilot to get onto Zerg's ship.
Yes.
You need a pirate and a pirate. They need a pilot and a ship.
Yeah. They need a pilot and a ship, and they have both now.
And then what happens to the ship?
Well,
that's not in this one yet.
Yeah.
I think
the
that's
next act. Yeah.
This is where they have the Infinity Beyond point joke, I believe.
Yeah.
The classic.
Don't pull it.
Don't pull it.
Yeah.
And that was the end of that.
At that. Yeah, it was really good.
Find out it's called Operation Surprise Party.
Yeah.
Just
he doesn't realize they're cadets until like halfway into this conversation, right? Like he's under the impression that
until like after
once they're loading the ship for the plan, that's when he finds out. Kind of being on the late side to find out.
Yeah. Do you have any like training? Nope. Do you have any training with like strategy? Nope. You have a car. And then there's like the whole thing with what was it? The
doesn't seem like it really spoke out to you there, Sinister.
The robot.
Yes, that's what it was. The Zerg robot appears. Its own running gag.
Yes. Well, we need Scar.
Yeah.
Scarface.
Yeah. And they have a hell of a time battling it.
Is that part of this act or the next act?
No, that's part of
this act.
It did.
Yeah. It ends when they defeat it. This whole fight scene is an absolute mess.
Disgusting.
It was
disgusting.
Taika's. This is where I realized that Taika was taking the place of the fear I had for Socks. His character. I don't remember his character's name. I'm calling him Taika.
I never wrote it down. I just wrote Taika.
Yeah. But yeah, they defeat it with a bow and arrow, pretty much.
It was a harpoon.
And a harpoon. Sorry.
His name was Mo
Harpoon.
Morrison.
We gotta get it right because
A
it's so important.
harpoon, a couple paintballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where he discovers that one of the junior patrol is a convict who's not allowed to handle weapons, and then the other one is a coward who doesn't know how to use weapons, and the other one is just not trained, which is Izzy.
Yeah.
But she does the best out of the three of them
Yeah.
because
a hot
Darby
one.
doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So.
I know. No, it's not this scene. I think it's after this act.
Yeah. So.
But they realize in this scene that they pretty much their location's been compromised, essentially.
Mhm.
Uh,
Have we talked about
their
the
ship gets destroyed during this fight as well.
irony?
So I guess that would lead into the next thing.
And then, but what are the Zerg bots doing to when they find stuff? What are they doing?
They suck. No, they teleport things.
yeah, they're strapping items to objects and teleporting them up
Oh, to the mothership.
to the mothership.
The other ship.
The Zuckerberg ship.
Yes,
Sorry.
the metaverse ship.
No,
the
that would have made
scariest
this movie worse.
the scariest dystopia of all.
Yeah.
The metaverse.
Enter the metaverse.
You got anything to add here, Sprinks, for this?
Yeah. Any closing
This
For the
thoughts?
finishing of Act 2, I think it's still good to point like for Buzz thinking. Well, Izzy gives him a little synopsis of kind of what's going on and takes him to the Junior Patrol,
Mm-hmm.
where Buzz does believe
Yeah.
upon arriving, like because of their outfits and they're not like in trash garb or whatever, like they look fit as a team.
Yeah.
So he does believe like they're not probably Space Ranger material, but they are
Marines, essentially.
What do they call them? Ground.
Combat ready.
combat at the looks of it until the actual encounter with the Zerg bot to show just how incapable they are at combat, which shows surprise to Buzz at each turn of a character, giving him more and more disbelief because he's being like taken away by the Zerg bot.
Yeah.
And of course, it's just the stroke of luck that occurs that the Zerg bot, passes
Gets
out.
impaled in the head.
Yeah.
By a harpoon.
So I think that was just good animation to me of Buzz's facial expressions every single turn.
Oh yeah.
Because it wasn't the same shocked face all the
Yeah.
time. It was like
Just,
it was like shock and then confusion and then like eye rolling and like just
it just
like
kept
almost acceptance. Like just take me away. I don't want to be by these people.
It's like I give up. We're done for. That's yeah.
It will not be the first time, and it will not be the last.
And I guess that brings to the end of Act 2. Anyone else have a finishing thing on Act 2 to bring up?
I have a This might be next act, but I have a question. Is this where Izzy brings up that she played like hide in camo with her mom?
That's
I don't remember
I
that.
believe it's the next. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
start,
the
start of the next one.
Okay.
All right. So we'll just go ahead and move there. So Act 3 is right after defeating the Zerg bot with the Junior Patrol, all the way up to where Zerg attacks them at the mines. And Ryder, seemed you wanted to start off with a point.
Oh yeah. Izzy played hide in camo with her parents, so now we have two people who know how camo works in this universe. And that's just nice to think about. So.
I
That's
guess.
true.
This is also when they.
I was gonna jump to the part where I thought it was interesting of the kind of look upon a new change in the world after I guess 22 years, because it wasn't like this 22 years ago to Buzz. Accordingly, is the meat sandwich. I think it's the What's it called?
Meat sandwich. Yeah, it's
Was it just
Bread
meat
in the middle
sandwich?
sandwich. Yeah, it was
bread
just
in the
a-
middle sandwich.
Okay,
Yeah,
it had 3 words to it, but just this meat sandwich, uh, which to Buzz and I guess most of the audience is just like very weird looking. But then understanding it's like 2 pieces of bread makes it dry. That is true. And it's like, why is the meat on the end? It's all wet. It's like, and I think Taika's characters is like, oh, the meat juices on your fingers is like the best part.
you licked that off. Yeah.
It was
So
Hey, don't you remember, like, yeah, you get sticky fingers or something like this.
Yeah. I'm like, interesting, very interesting.
and it was an interesting thing. I think it went on a little too long.
yeah.
For a joke, but
I don't know. I like the idea of, like, totally being out of a culture that's coming forward and then not understanding it.
Mm-hmm.
It's always kind of funny to me. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, it definitely lasts a bit too long, but I do like the intention behind it because it does illustrate the time difference and how much has changed.
When you get it on
it's
your
like the
fingers,
fish
it's
out of
called,
water thing.
yeah, it's called juicy fingers. That's what it was called.
Juicy fingers. That's it.
Juicy fingers. Yeah, you know when you get juicy fingers, meat
Yeah.
juice on your fingers.
Well, I thought that was just interesting. And then, along with that, because they got out a vending machine, in the vending machine is the, not necessarily about Lightyear, but something Pixar likes to do is put in little nods to like what their next movie's going to be, like little hiding points. And in the vending machine, they had, what was it? Agua's water. I think it was Agua, or something like that. Wayne's water. I think his character's name is Wayne. Anyway, it's the connection to the next Pixar movie called Elementals. So that's where their
I thought
image is for the next.
Here I thought it was a connection to The Way of Water by James Cameron, the new Avatar movie that we're all gonna fucking love.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
I'll give it a
Tired of
chance.
getting ads
Off the
for
water,
it.
but-
Tired of getting ads for it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Tired of getting ads for it.
I haven't gotten any at all.
That's all I've gotten in my theater.
With Ryder and I picking something up for Act 3. Crimson, take us to a point in Act 3 that stood out to you.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Just one. Just pick one.
Oh my god, I'm looking through my notes right now. What do I care about? Oh shoot.
Oh, not even
just
one.
say something.
Interesting.
Crimson, just say socks. You'll always be right.
I can.
Freaking when the invisibility suits, whatever. When they all get their suits.
Okay.
In the hangar.
Okay. Yeah.
It was cool that the rookie's outfit was used again by Taika Waititi. His character. I don't know if all of you saw that or not.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw a nice little detail with that as well. Is when Buzz takes the cart and like they're splitting up because the 3 of them are like leaving and Buzz is going to the ship, and Socks is intimidating Buzz's view.
Mhm.
In the background, you can see the names pop up of the other crewmates invisible, and the Feathering Hamston name is popped up as well
Mhm.
because that's the suit registered to that one. So
Yeah, it's also got the name tags on. So
Yeah.
that's where I saw it. And I wrote down what are the odds that they found suits that fit all of them. It was a
That's
nitpick, I
true.
guess,
Especially
especially for
Darby.
Darby.
Yeah,
yeah.
gonna kind of double
Short
up.
and flat.
I'm gonna double down on this scene a little bit. I think this scene hurts Buzz Lightyear's character a lot.
Oh, you mean his sheer incompetence by not telling them there's a time limit on invincibility?
Yes, and it also hurts Izzy's character because she also knows that there would be a time limit, having played hide and camo with her mother. This is.
I didn't think about that. Oh God.
Well,
so there are 2 people who know functionally what these suits can do, and neither one of them remember to inform their team. I obviously blame Buzz more than I do Izzy because Izzy is a rookie, but Buzz is like supposed to be a competent space ranger, and this is basically an antithesis of that.
I blame Izzy more than Buzz.
How?
How and why?
Because well, but Buzz is blamed. Well, I guess they're both blamed
Yeah.
because they know that there's a time limit on the invisibility. But Buzz tells them, "Get out! Just from here to out." and Buzz is from here to the ship. And by the time Buzz reaches the ship, he's still invisible. So he knows about the time, and he makes it in time and fine. To the other side, Taika and Darby start fooling around with the aliens, wasting their time. And Izzy knows that there's a time limit and sees them screwing around, but doesn't warn them, hey, we got to continue, let's get out, and just lets them fool around till they're visible to the aliens.
Well, okay, like Taika said, if Buzz told him there was a time limit, they wouldn't have done that.
But
And
Izzy
it is
see
Buzz's
them
job.
goofing off.
It is Buzz's job as the de facto leader of this group to inform them of this thing while they're putting the suits on that they're going to use to escape.
Franks, if Buzz told them right off the bat, then there wouldn't have been a need for Izzy to warn them in the first place, because they wouldn't have been messing around.
True.
So the root is Buzz in this situation.
I guess Buzz's also thought was, well, since he hates rookies, this is the last time he'd see them. Well, this is the last time he'd see them. So he's like, it doesn't matter, I mean, initially it did, yeah, because they were in danger. He went back, to save them. But if they just, he didn't care. Like, this is the last I'll see you, goodbye, and you're out of the hangar, you're gone, I'll never see you again.
So your angle for this is that he's so uncaring to rookies that he will let them risk their lives.
Well, he said goodbye,
Yeah.
and then they came out, and I forget, I think it was Tyga's character asked a question or something, and he answered, and then he said, okay, goodbye again. Like annoyed at the point. But because Buzz made it to the ship, he was fine, even with Socks messing with his vision and everything, he was still did it, so Socks was seen outside the helmet because Buzz is still invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting to indicate that it's only for said suit and anything inside because of the visor, which is a nice little detail, I guess, to the invisibility aspect of it.
Yeah.
But he
Also
made it to the
normal.
ship in time. Frankly, because he knew about the time thing and everything. But
Yeah.
it's just the fact that they were goofing off, and Izzy sees them goofing off and does nothing about it. It's like the Vine thing, where all these people see Buzz or someone get attacked by Vine and stands around and watches.
Right. I mean, that damages Izzy more. I still, like I said, this scene damages Buzz because Buzz should have told them. Like, this is your entire plan rests on them getting out safely and you getting to your ship safely. So this is something that he would have told them explicitly.
True. I'm not. Don't take this as me saying is had
Yeah.
nothing to blame for. He definitely did. I'm just saying in the context of Buzz and Izzy, I think Izzy has a little more to it.
Yeah, well, especially because Buzz has already kind of been set up to he doesn't interact with rookies, so all the people he interacts with know how most things work, I'm assuming. And the fact of he would, and the fact that he's been on solo missions for the last 60 years, with time
Which-
relations or whatever, would also equate to the fact that he's not really thinking about doing missions with people in the same wavelength. So I think it's a little bit easier that it would slip his mind. I mean, granted, it's not stated in that way, but you know what I mean. Izzy less so, but I think Buzz, it makes slightly more sense. I can, there's enough there where you could make you could find yourself making the call yeah, okay, that's he's probably free of any guilt. Izzy not so much, but him, yeah.
Okay.
I could almost see that he's not used to being with incompetent people, that he doesn't have to bring it up, but it's not enough still.
Okay.
First interaction with the Zergbot, he should know.
After that, he should know what level he's dealing with, and that they would absolutely have no idea that there's a timer in the suits.
Especially the fact that they
Yeah.
said directly to Buzz's face, "Oh, we wish we were rookies.
Yeah.
We're even lesser than a rookie."
The problem as well with that interpretation that he he's annoyed with them, and that's kind of the shtick, they're lesser than rookies. The problem with that is it invites that he is not a good person, which is hard to grapple with when I'm supposed to care about my child iconographic hero. So we haven't reached that point, but the problem with inviting that line of discussion is that we will eventually reach the point of, okay, did he allow this to happen? I don't think he did.
No.
But when you approach from the angle that he's so uncaring about rookies, at what point do I stop thinking of him as a hero? As someone I should like and look up to? Because that then invites the character flaw to being not really a flaw anymore. It's a gaping wound to the character.
I think for a good chunk of this movie, Buzz isn't exactly a hero. He's kind of more of a lone-ish, cocky, almost in the span of like a Han Solo type. Like, kind of just wants to do what he wants to get done.
To the point of sacrificing others, though. That's the problem.
Like the very beginning, he tries to pull up the turnip ship, and he goes like, "I'm Buzz Lightyear. I'm always sure," kind of thing, and fails.
Mind you, this is after he runs back to try to save the rookie.
He doesn't want to.
Initially he left the rookie to be. Him and Hawthorne just ran for the ship. It wasn't until he heard him screaming at the ship and turned around to see him again.
Yeah, because he assumed that the rookie would be smart enough to run, which you should.
But also
I thought the rookie was dead.
Yeah. So why would you go back? Yeah, logically.
Yeah. So when the rookie shows up to be alive, that's when Buzz makes the decision to go out and help him. I'm not saying he doesn't go out to help his crew here now, but there is a point where, like I said, that argument of him not caring about rookie and being a lone type starts to affect his character. Because if you compare him to Han Solo, you have to remember Han Solo does show up to blow up the Death Star.
Yeah. No, that's why I said half. He's not a hero for a part of the movie is what I meant. Because he does get that, if you want, a character arc of changing with the Junior Patrol, which changes his personality a bit. Connection.
Well, I mean, if we want to compare it, like Woody in Toy Story, he's supposed to be a hero, but for the first half of the movie, he's trying to kill Buzz.
Out of jealousy, yeah.
It's very dark. Granted, it's not the same situation in this, mind you, but
I said I'm not opposed to the idea of introducing your protagonist as your antagonist in a sense. The problem is Buzz is not really shown to be antagonistic. He just shows that he doesn't like them, which is very different from Woody trying to kill Buzz.
Oh yeah.
So
I thought you were trying to say that he was actively trying to just No,
I'm just saying that's the slippery slope of introducing the idea that he is uncaring about these rookies, and to the point where he that's why he would overlook telling them the timer. Regarding the camo.
I think that's the reason.
I don't think it's so much of. I think it's more of Buzz being independent than selfish.
Yeah,
he's not pushing people away, but he just doesn't want them to be around. He wants to do things his way.
If I could successfully do something without somebody else's help, why would I have somebody else help me? I guess is how I viewed it.
I think we're putting more thought in this scene of Buzz's headspace than the writers. I think they're
100% we are.
Yeah, that's
what
I'm saying.
So
yeah,
100%. 100% we're putting more effort. 100% we're putting more effort into this than the writers did. That's my problem.
Especially with the team of 3 writers for this movie.
Yeah.
John Lasseter.
I'm just. It wasn't just one person.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I did not write down the other names, but the director was one of the 3 writers.
Yeah.
Well, they also don't credit rewrites, so it's probably more like 20.
Yeah, I will say the one thing I do like about this scene aesthetically is the shimmer when their camo activates. It actually looks like Buzz's box in the toy store.
It's very cool.
Oh.
I never noticed that.
Well, the only reason I noticed it now is because I had to bring it on screen, and I've stared at it for the last 10 minutes.
Even a Pixar fanboy missed that.
I know, he sent me the screenshot, so I assumed he knew what it was. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
I connected that to something else, which I'll discuss at the end.
Okay.
But another shimmer. Very cool.
Shimmer.
Sinister, do you have any Act 3 point that stood out to you that we haven't gone over yet?
No. Sorry, I was going through the screenshots really fast. Well, we spent a lot of time on this. Spent a lot of time on that.
Sorry,
But,
I'm a writer,
I
so
mean,
when things
in the
affect
individual thing.
characters, I tend to blog it
Oh,
down. It's my bad.
It's completely fine if we've already gone over the ones that have stood out to you.
Sorry, no, I'm just trying to retrace my steps in my mind about the individual. Going forward. No, I think we got it. I did like the character. I liked how they wrote him sort of warming up to them, I guess. I liked his whole little like
turning around and getting back on being angry
Yeah.
but accepting.
Yeah, like that.
Like,
Yeah.
see, that's in character for me. Like I said, in the opening, he is shown to go back and because he does care about people, so he does.
Yeah.
He does. It's still in him to do that. So I like that as well.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting character choice to kind of have him be against rookies. I think that was, and I think from the little probably like 10-minute conversation we had there about the invisibility, maybe that was kind of a mixed bag of a choice. But let's focus on the good stuff for this part. I liked his little monologue about him being a rookie, and I thought, at least in my mind, that made it make more sense to why he would kind of be so against rookies, because he knows how bad he was, and that if he had been like given the chance to be in a mission, in a mission critical situation, that he would have failed, and that he doesn't want somebody else to be responsible just by the fact of them being a rookie, I guess, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
You mean
Guess
when
so.
you mean when he's talking to them all like they're eating their meat
Yeah, 'cause
sandwiches?
that he was like the worst rookie, and and I found that, granted, I know we can, there's enough non-evidence here that this is all unexplainable in the general sense, but I read that as like I thought reading into it was a good way to represent why he was so against rookies, other than him just being like lone wolfing. It was just the idea of like, I was a terrible rookie. If I was given a mission critical, objective, I would have failed, and the mission would have failed, and I could have hurt people. So now that I am no longer a rookie, I need to not have that ever happen. Sort of like I've been burned almost,
Mhm.
burned once, never again. Even if it never happened. And so I thought that was, even if it was just a very small little bit of evidence, I like that idea.
I do like that scene as well, where he talks about his time in Star Command, or the Academy, and we also, I think, find out that Izzy is afraid of space here as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite ironic.
Yeah.
I did like that.
Yeah, I is this is before the no wait, this is after they blow up the facility they were in, right? Because there's a hole in the wall.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a whole.
we haven't
with a
talked
man
about the
you can see.
whole trap cone
Okay.
scene.
That was a cool scene.
Oh, I hated that scene.
That was a cool scene because you.
Oh,
hated
Crimson,
it.
would you like to take the opportunity to talk about it?
Okay, well, they go to the mines because they need, I think, an energy cell for the ship.
Yes.
And they enter this room where the cell is, and Taika Waititi did something to activate the alarm. Do any of you remember?
Oh, I think he hit didn't he hit the starter or something, or he hit the alarm?
Didn't he?
Possibly.
Wasn't it because he was trying to steal from the vending machine? Was it that?
Maybe.
No.
Okay.
No.
That was the room next door.
Okay.
Either way, Taika activates the alarm system, and they all get trapped in these like energy cones. kind of like the cone of silence and Get Smart. And
Callback.
they can freaking move in them. They can move the cones.
But
In
they
the
cannot
room.
move outside of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is yeah.
What a pathetic security system that traps them but allows them to move within the trap. So that just, I couldn't believe that. And the cones merge if they interact with each other.
Which
And,
is something
become
Darby
one.
knew, because Darby's been in cones before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And freaking Izzy, Darby, and Taika at some point all turned into one cone.
Yeah.
And
Buzz is like, stay away from me.
yeah,
You're contagious.
Buzz like, I need to be the hero. If I'm stuck in there with you, I can't do anything, which is true because they suck.
Yeah.
So Buzz's plan was them to ram into something so that the door allows Buzz to leave. Or
Yeah, they need a time
Deactivate
knocking
his
out the
power-
power. They need a
power
time
grid.
knocking out the power grid when the door's
Yeah,
open.
With the door open. Yeah.
But they realize they don't have enough force, so they need Buzz to join in and work as a team.
Yeah.
So they do that.
And
Nice message.
To me,
And he-
I think this is the
Wisdom
one
hated
part
it.
where Buzz actually sees like a belief that it can be done. It's
Yeah.
not like before with the invisibility shields or
Oh,
stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, that is something that I would touch on just really briefly that we've kind of touched on a little bit. Is they're really not like, it's like the whole thing of like, oh, you gotta change your ways. They really haven't given him much of a reason to change his ways because they are incompetent.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
They're
You
not
know-
doing a good job convincing him that they're
Yeah.
worthwhile.
yeah. So
But they're the noobs are
It's-
they're the junior cadet crew. They're the ones that come up with the plan, right?
yeah, they have the that's what and
Or
he-
at least they help him come up with the
understands
plan.
they have the plan. They're missing a few details, obviously. When they actually, they're like, yeah, we're just gonna get on the ship and save the day. And he's like, well, what are you gonna do when you get on the ship? I'm like, we don't know. We're gonna find out. And he's like, oh, okay. But they do have a plan that he thinks is like an actual strategy designed by like experts or something. So he goes with it.
The makings
before
of
he
one, at
finds out
least,
that they're
yeah.
yeah. So they're not, I guess. They're incompetent in practice, but they actually understand like tactics in some small way. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I can agree with that. And this scene, I guess because they all work together to come up with a plan to disable the cones and stuff like that and keep the door open. They work together to do this, and then they knock out the power, and that blows up the building for some reason. I don't
It has to blow up. Come on.
know how or why that works. So that threw me right out again.
Does it actually blow up or does it just fall?
It's
I don't
starting to
remember.
deconstruct.
Yeah, it blows up / deconstructs. It's half the building falls because of this.
Yeah, it's falling down the mine.
Which is a bit,
Yeah.
as Ryder says, it takes you out a bit. But all I can think of is whatever was holding that building up wasn't
Well,
just
also, like,
metal beams or anything. It was something powered.
I think
Well, yeah,
the
and also
only
if
the
you
only thing I
fuck
could
with the power, yeah.
the only thing I could think of in comparison would be the shields that were used in Mustafar to hold up the facility, and then they got broken during the lightsaber fight, so the facility slowly starts to fall apart.
Yeah.
From Star Wars.
that could be it.
That's pretty much the only thing I could think of is that if
It was connected to power in some way.
yeah.
Some way, somehow.
Uh,
Anti-grav.
Yeah, but Buzz gets the cell, and then that's when we
We get
the
meat
whole
sandwiches.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And then who
and I
pops
think-
up? But
Well, I think this brings up another emotional point to me because, as we kind of say, Socks is one of the best character, if not the best character, in the movie, and of course, Taika's character again makes a
Kill
mistake.
Socks almost.
Yeah, and Socks gets
Yeah.
knocked out and injured, which is not a big emotional response, but that's still like an internal like, oh come on, just like.
right as they were bonding. Yeah.
You're actively making me not like Taika's character here, guys.
And it could be, for all we knew, it was like, oh, is Socks now out to like the very end of the movie kind of thing where he comes back to conscious? Like, how long is Socks going to be knocked out, or is Socks actually? I didn't
Listen,
believe
though-
Socks was actually dead That would be
No.
like that was not that was a really dumb way.
He fell like a foot.
Yeah. To me,
Well,
it was
he
very.
was charging.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's still
in
to
a
me, it's
vulnerable
like,
state.
oh, how long is he going to be out? How long is he going to be gone now? That
Is this where he plays the recording of Hawthorne?
yes.
Yeah, it breaks him.
Yeah.
He retrieves a corrupted file,
Yeah.
plays it.
And she's all like,
Hawthorne explained
I'm
to
just gonna say it's a little convenient,
No.
but acceptable.
yeah. Just
Um,
a
look for
little
my
more
friend
time.
Buzz. He's a
And
good
it's
guy,
like, oh,
but
that
he's
was my
real mixed
grandma.
up.
Yeah.
That was my.
Yeah,
So,
and,
did
and
you
yeah,
play with
I do like this scene because Hawthorne's it kind of
Yeah.
explains life on the planet and what she knows Buzz is missing out on, that sort of thing. This to me I think is probably this and the Academy story are probably
Mhm.
some of my other favorite emotional scenes. And
I do like that scene. Yeah.
yeah. The only jarring thing that no wait, no, that's not this. And then that's after this.
No,
Never mind.
And like I said, this movie does a really good job when it does it serious, and it's sad that they don't do it that often.
Yeah.
I guess with that, does anyone have any last talking points on Act 3?
Well, there was the whole dogfight with Zurg leading up to the
Yeah.
mines.
I was trying to reference that, and it.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Well, now you stole my thunder. Go for it.
Okay. Yeah, there was a whole dogfight between them and Zurg, and they crash, right? And that's why they needed the cell to get the ship going again.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is a revisit from the the forever living, the immortal spot that was, with the scar.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then Zurg flies away instead of continuing and capturing them or whatever Zurg wants to do with them because they are grounded.
Yeah.
But he just flies away.
Which doesn't make sense, as we'll find out
Makes
later.
zero sense. He flies
Makes
away.
Zurg
He doesn't
sense,
even
yeah.
send Zerdbots immediately either. He saves that for later. So that whole bit makes zero sense to me. At all. Zero zilch and nada.
Yeah, because I think I was like you, Crimson, where I was sitting and like, okay, he downed them, so is he gonna come down and retrieve them? He's gonna send bots, and then nothing happened to them for like 50 minutes to go through the cone sequence and everything. I'm like, wow, just let him get away with it, I guess. Do you not need them?
Yeah.
But then he comes back
Yeah, half an hour later.
half an hour later. Is that in this act? Or am I?
Yeah. This was
Okay.
the end of the act, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Springs, is
You
it
get-
the end of the chase or the start of the next
For which?
interaction?
For act
The end of this
4.
act, when Zurg
The end
comes
of-
back up.
The end of this act is when Buzz is running with Zurg on his tail and he's going through the mines.
Oh, okay.
So that's when that's over.
Okay.
Oof. I've
Zurg.
read
And then he, like,
I read
corners
that
him.
wrong.
I literally wrote this in my notes. Zurg is only after Buzz shows up to interrupt character time.
Okay.
Finally, I guess.
There's a sorry, ladies and gentlemen. There's a minefield later on. I was reading that wrong.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can talk about that chase scene a little bit. So, yeah, Zurg is after Buzz, and they're just running around. They left
Oh,
the junior patrol behind, huh?
I thought. Okay, I might be confused. I thought the chase scene was after the attack.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
The chase scene was after the Hawthorne video, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Well, I meant the chasing in the ship.
No.
No,
there were two chase scenes in the ship.
Okay.
yeah,
I'm
the
thinking-
Well, since you're getting the first time when we have no idea where the hell we are.
My timeline. They have the dogfight with Zurg. Zurg shoots them down. They need the energy cell, so they go
Yes.
to the mine to
Yes,
repair
that
the
was-
ship. And then this is when Zurg catches up with them again, even though he shouldn't have left them in the first place.
Okay, that was my correction. There's the ship chase scene, and then there's the robot
Chase through
in
the mines,
suits. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
no. I'm thinking of another one. So
I know
not
what you're
on
thinking.
foot.
That's not in this act.
Okay, that's next. Okay.
Yeah, that's where everything goes wrong. They're running through the mines, and Zerg's got Buzz cornered, so it seems. And then the Junior Patrol shoots Zerg with a freaking, I guess, laser drill or something.
Yeah, mining laser.
Yeah.
They break through a wall.
I don't know how they got there, because they got left in the dust.
Pretty
they
much.
kind of just teleported in front of them. So that made no sense to me.
Yeah. But they save Buzz Lightyear, and that's just Jim cracking dandy.
Yeah.
And that's the end of Act 3. So on to Act 4 then. With
one more.
Whoa.
Crimson had one more thing.
We didn't bring up that throughout this act, Taika's been fiddling with a pen in his suit.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, just the clicking.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
He really likes that little click pen in the outfit.
All right, now that
Wouldn't
we
you?
established that, that's all.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
So, the Sinister, you were going to say?
I would mess with it too. It's awesome.
All right, on to Act 4 then, of the saving Buzz from the Zerg attack in the mines to the point where the self-destruct gets activated on the Zerg mothership. And I'm going to start with a Sinister Boy for a talking point in this Act 4.
All right. So let's see. I guess something that struck out to me in this act was the was them sort of looking out at space from the ground.
After they crashed.
Yeah. And just kind of, and his conversation with Izzy, even though it was sort of antagonistic against her because he was upset with her at the time. I found it just, I liked it in the way of, because she was looking at it like how beautiful it was, but she was, so terrified of it because she'd never experienced, space in itself. And I found it very, almost kind of poignant, of how they used it.
Yeah.
Wasn't that at the mine?
Gotcha.
Was it? I thought that was also when they crashed.
No, because Buzz
wrong.
gets kidnapped at the end of the crash.
Yeah.
So that one up in there.
During the crash, or like before, just prior to the crash, my whole thing was Buzz seems to have flipped. Like he wants them on the mission. I'm like, I don't understand when they suddenly not became like not liabilities or whatever.
It was the sandwiches.
It was the sandwiches.
It was.
That was the scene.
They got
That
connected.
is that is.
He got connected.
Okay.
All it takes is one.
That's all I get, I guess. That's not good.
I think when he was opening up about the academy to them, trying to connect.
Yeah.
Because I think that was something that I'm sure he
but
probably had like.
It's
repressed.
still. It's not a. It may not be a 180 to them suddenly wanting them to do the mission with him. Like he wants them to go on the mission with him. It's not a 180. It's still a 140. All right. It's.
Yeah. With the jump.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think. Well. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess
he wants them because he's connected to them, not because he knows they can do it competently.
Yeah. It might also come to the point now where Buzz thinks they're the only people around or left to like really help him with anything, because there's Zerg bots everywhere and they're attacking the whole laser dome, and he can't, you can't get anyone in or out of there, so they are all he has to assist with what to do. So
I guess
I see that as that.
My question would then turn into, where did the character arc of him thinking I can do everything by myself go?
Well, because he was getting,
Well, the
they had
cones,
moments.
probably.
Yeah, they had moments that were, like
There are
I
there are two moments, I guess, where they save him from Zurg and then the cones, but they don't really talk about those moments. So I
I don't think they necessarily needed to be. I mean, the cones is Buzz was paused and hesitant about joining in with their cone to add the added, I guess, momentum to break the power. So that was him thinking it over, and then being cornered by Zurg, he had nowhere else to go, and they came to his rescue, like
Mhm.
much when their invisibility went down and he came to theirs. So I think those were both moments to Buzz of like, these people aren't worthless, and they're all I really have right now to help me with my mission.
Yeah, I think they did a bare minimum job, but I think there was something.
yeah.
At least I don't think it's enough personally. But
Yeah, I'm in the camp of
It's
it's definitely
there.
not enough. I do think there is something there. So let me clarify my position. I don't think it's enough, but I understand that there is something here. And that's why I'm asking to see if I missed anything really, because
No, you
pretty
didn't.
much those two rescue moments and the sandwich.
yeah. Okay.
And then I guess I'll go bring up this point of something that Izzy does, which is idiotic, which to me makes her character worse than what it kind of currently already is, with her trying to be this hero to her, like, space ranger idol of Buzz, and it's like, oh, I'll eject the crystal from the ship.
Did I facepalm in theaters? Did I
You
catch
did.
that?
I think
Yeah.
you did.
did.
I think you put your head down
I
and
will
you
I
laughed.
will let you know. I absolutely
and your monocle off your head.
Yeah,
I
my
will-
top hat and monocle fell off. It was
yeah,
embarrassing.
I absolutely hit myself with my notebook when that happened.
I don't.
God,
There was no
I can't
understanding
excuse it.
to me how
There's
she
no
thinks it would help.
there's no excusing this because it either the character gets damaged, the world gets damaged, or there's no getting out of this one.
Oh, if I give him the crystal, he'll stop chasing us. Oh shoot! Without the crystal, we can't move.
The only thing that could save this is if Taika accidentally pushed the button.
yeah, maybe it'll save sacrificing Taika on the altar would save Izzy.
Yeah, another one of his mistake traits.
Because he
Of
already
just
sucks.
fooling around.
So
Yeah.
it would be in character for him to suck more.
Yeah. So like the damage to this is the world. The damage is already done from the world building perspective. Is that she could just press this button and it ejects the power core to your fucking ship.
That's I don't think damage to the world, because it was used early on with
Yeah.
Buzz to
There
explode
is-
his failed crystal
yeah.
to get him into the hoops.
I
There
think
is a good
Ryder
enough
was saying that
reason-
there's literally just a button. And
Oh, okay. There's no
there's no like.
there's
no
two keypad turn.
Yeah, there's no glass.
there's
there's no
no-
glass protector, so you don't accidentally hit. Like you pull up and smash it. The button. That's a
It's
problem.
essentially a suicide button right there.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you're well. I can't remember if on the ship for Buzz to eject it, if it was a flip, like piece of plastic and then button press or something, because these are two different ships we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If he does just press it, that still damages the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like I
I
said,
don't think
I'm fine with him.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it
This-
being a button. That's either way. Just the
and that-
nonchalant way that it's just hit in this particular scene.
That crystal explosion was the first failed flight, correct?
Yes.
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 To launch. Okay, so that was, oh god, that was 86 years prior to where we are now with the ship they're currently in,
hmm
and it's
84,
not changed at all. So I will agree that just having this openly button after all this time, no, there's no evolution there.
Yeah. So that's the damage done to the world building, and then we have damage done to Izzy's character because it turns her into just
Brain dead.
brain dead.
Listen, I'm sorry, but she must be sacrificed.
I
mean,
know what the writers are trying to do. They want to show that Izzy is capable of making very, very consequential mistakes like Buzz is in the heat of the moment. But the problem is Buzz crashed the ship while he was pulling up. When he had options to help him, she just presses a button. The correlation is very weak.
She didn't think through what would happen.
Yeah.
As her only power. So anyway, she does that. Real dumb, and then Buzz gets captured. I think it's also shown here that it's actually no, it may have been at the mines that Zurg is only after Buzz and none of the members of the Junior Patrol.
Yeah, I did bring that up in passing that the Zurg is only after Buzz. He looks at the Junior Patrol and just follows Buzz mechanically.
Yeah, which kind of shows to Izzy like, oh, Zurg's only after Buzz and not after any of us. Which goes into the thought process of, oh, I'll eject the crystal so Zurg can get Buzz. I'm helping Zurg. It's this traitorous move she does. That's brain dead. Yeah. Well, yeah, she because of her actions, ultimately, and it's not like, you know, beforehand, like, oh, it took a while to get here, and it's like, oh, because of my mistake, this has occurred, which did happen, but it's instant. Ship dies, they get attacked, Buzz gets captured in the span of like a minute and a half.
Yeah, it's crazy. This movie does not stop.
You're onto something here, Spriggs. What if the whole story is Izzy is secretly against Buzz because she saw her grandma just waste away trying to help Buzz's mission?
It is
oh my gosh, there's a story here.
That is a possibility that I have not thought of. That she's against us from the beginning.
It would explain a lot, actually.
That's like the crazy people who say Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord in the prequel series.
Yeah.
Just so that they gave a reason for it of why
it's
it was
just
so terrible.
you know what, Crimson? That's just another one of those Pixar theories to put on the shelf, with all the other thousands of Pixar theories there are. Anyway,
yeah, during that chase, they actually send multiple bots this time.
Took a while.
Yeah. They used the teleportation against them. Really funny.
Yes.
And Scar's
also,
here.
One
it should be
of them
important.
puts a teleporter on the ship and does not activate the teleporter.
It does not activate it immediately, which makes no sense as well.
Because every time we've seen a teleporter used, it was instant. There was no waiting period. So I don't know why they never activated that teleporter until it's relevant later. They didn't think about that at all. At all. We also see that one-armed bot come back just to die, right?
He doesn't die though, does he? He just
didn't he go in the lava?
Did he?
The one-armed one?
Yeah,
the Scar one.
I don't think so. I don't think it went into lava.
No, he's still alive. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, he's alive for a long time. He's the sidelined villain who's constantly occurring.
Yeah, I'm gonna spoil it right now. There's nothing that comes of it. Literally nothing. Nothing
Not
happens.
really, no. Just being able to recognize that one droid.
Every time you see him, you're waiting for it, and that's the whole point. Is you're waiting for something to happen. It doesn't happen.
It's like Mr. X in Resident Evil. It's just like, oh, there he is again.
Yeah.
You know, he just keeps popping up. There he is.
That's how I felt about the teleporter. I got really angry in theaters when that was used to bring all the heroes onto the ship.
Yep.
Well, so
was that the last scene with the one-armed robot then?
No, he's on the ship. Comes back on the ship later.
Don't remember that.
He's not. Yeah, he's not dead yet.
No.
Scar does not die
I guess
yet.
it was some other bot that went in the lava.
I'm going to jump to a point that stood out to me. Then is the reveal of Zurg.
Yeah, the Emperor of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Buzz's father.
Yeah.
No, it was the rookie from the beginning of the movie.
Going into this movie, my main question I had on my mind, because the main antagonist was Zurg, or shown, was, is this going to show the Toy Story 2 connection of Zurg saying he's Buzz's father? I'm like, okay, I'm curious how this is going to go, and then they start, the suit comes down and like opens up to reveal who it is, and it looks like an older version of Buzz.
Yeah.
And even Buzz says, "Dad," like it could look like his dad, and he goes, "Yeah." And then it's shown with, was it the dog tags, that they're matching dog tags, and that it's just an older version of Buzz. Also, a nice little thing I'll point out is on the dog tag it says that Buzz is O positive, which is the rarest blood type, making for a connection to, I don't know if he's a rare space. He's one of a kind. Who knows?
One of a kind.
Okay.
Not one of a kind, but just make him a little more special, I guess.
This could be a different Buzz.
I'm just thinking on the dock tag, it's Lightyear, and then it says O positive, which means the only thing they wrote there was his blood type.
It's pretty
So-
standard.
Yeah.
So if a soldier gets wounded, they know what blood to give him. If he
True,
gets
but
transferred.
if they, out of all, well, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying, out of all blood types, they chose O positive, which is the rarest one. So, but yeah, just to show that it is a older version of Buzz, which is the question of how, which is then explained how in the backstory of Zurg, explaining that when he landed, Burnside was there to capture him because of his stealing the ship, and he took the ship again to jump into the future and found a ship, and the Zurg mothership, and then used the crystal to come back in time to the point of when Burnside would have gotten him. Actually, no, my correction, arrived beforehand. That way, when his past self of Buzz landed, Burnside wasn't there to capture him then, because he was occupied with the Zurg bots. And to me, the math adds up. One could argue why that wasn't already the case when that Zurg landed, which is some time travel scenario of, to me, time travel is always fitted into two because, it's not actually made or known about really in actual science today, but it's one of two. It's, can you change the past or can you not change the past? And the past is like, I guess like Avengers Endgame, like the past becomes your future kind of thing. And the way they wrote it in this one is like,
I was just gonna let you get
Alright.
with it. Yeah.
So the time travel, the time travel in this film doesn't make sense. Shocker. Well, at least this part of the time travel, like the hyper jumps, kind of makes sense because that's actually time dilation. When you faster you travel, closer to light speed. That makes sense. This does not. And I do think the animation in the Zurg reveal is very nice. I think this. Obviously, I don't like this reveal scene. It was very
Give 'em both
cliche.
girls. Yeah.
And it's, I think, very damaging to Zurg's character. With what little we had of
You
it.
mean old Buzz? Who's Zurg?
I was so calm, Zurg.
No,
I
I'm.
think pondering over my head, it is your past becomes your future now. There was no change in the past. So
If any of you saw your old selves from the future, would you think, "Oh wow, that's my dad"?
possibly.
I wouldn't think.
I don't know.
Shut up.
I've been told I look a lot like my dad, so I probably look a lot like him when I'm older.
It's a possibility.
Dude, that's so minute and dumb to me. That was thrown in just for the reference. I found that unbelievable.
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
no, it was
a
right
lot
for the
more. There's a lot more that would come out first out of Buzz's mouth than that.
If I traveled like 50 years into the future and I saw me now, I wouldn't say that.
The only
I
thing
would
that,
not be dad.
to me, the only thing out of all this story that in the Zurg backstory that didn't really add up or wasn't explained, that I guess didn't necessarily need to be explained because it was him going to the future, is where did the Zurg ship originally come from, or how
Yeah, I
it
was about to say
was
that
created?
needs to be
Yeah.
explained.
Is Zurg
He
still
just took
is Zurg still the evil emperor of the galaxy? Is this just a retcon? Is this there is?
I think
Either-
what they're
Let's
trying
just
to.
walk up and take the ship. And have
I
no
think what they're.
repercussions.
There's something. I think what they're trying to is that there is a Zurg in that timeline, and he jacked his ship and
That-
stole it. Yeah.
No, thinking about it now, that makes sense. The Zurg
Yeah.
ship in the future is his own ship. He just takes that ship in the future and takes it back in time. Now, that Zurg, because it's he's older then, so that Zurg is probably just not on the ship when it gets taken.
These robots are.
Your robots are.
His robots are. I was saying him himself is probably not on the ship. Otherwise, there would be two old Buzzes when he went back.
We don't know. They never showed anything. There could have been two Buzzes, and old Buzz killed that Buzz. For all we
No,
know.
he would have shown that. Come on. He would
They
have.
didn't show anything.
No,
is a
they would
possibility.
totally put that in a Pixar movie. Buzz choking out another Buzz. Come on, man.
But that makes sense to me that the ship gone back in time from the future is Zurg's ship, and then just over time it's the same ship. It never got destroyed.
Let's stop talking about time travel. It's confusing.
All right, well, let's talk about the throwaway line that the
go on
reason
it.
of why old Buzz is here presently, as this is as far as he could go. That's what he said. This was the furthest he could go back
Because
in
his
time.
crystal died.
How freaking dumb is that? That was their explanation.
I
Uh,
don't. I don't think that's dumb. I think that's just like a fuel source that ran out.
Yeah.
What do you-
He doesn't. It's like flux capacitor. It's not an ever going battery source. It's a crystal that ran out of juice. He needed a new crystal.
Ryder, help me out here, please. You're not on the loony train, are you?
okay, so the problem is if the crystal is a unlimited resource that should have been introduced at the beginning. The fact that it was used up in like that they're bringing that it can be used up in the 11th hour does damage the need for it earlier on. Because functionally, what was this exploratory vessel supposed to do when it ran out?
They had no backup.
I mean that the fuel source used for the turnip in the beginning was that the rainbow crystal.
It was,
Yeah.
It's implied that it's
Yeah,
supposed
that
to
was
be.
the whole reason they couldn't leave.
Okay,
It's
to
because
make
the
a new
crystal
one.
got
Yeah.
destroyed.
Yeah. So
Okay.
one, they don't have a backup. Two, the fuel source, if it's an unlimited fuel source, then doesn't make sense how it would break to begin with. It's
I
one of
don't
the
think it's unlimited.
it's one of the things that I've
If it's not unlimited, why would they only have one on that
Yeah.
ship?
The only thing
There's no reason to not have a backup.
that is true. There is no reason to have a backup. The only thing I can think of is that the crystal on the ship that they're using is to get them to their destination, and they did the math or whatever from wherever they started from, and it's like, oh yeah, it'll get you to your destination, kind of thing. But Buzz is the one who woke up and decided to go to this new planet. I don't think it's ever stated, or I think it's stated that the planet that Buzz awakes from cryosleep to go to the bridge to look at is not the one marked as their destination to go to. It's one that he thinks is compatible or to be used for resources that he chooses to land at.
Well, I think that's the other thing, though, is technically they don't say they're using hyperspace travel all the time, and that's kind of what I think the older Buzz was. He was using it for just hyperspace travel nonstop. For
Was it ever stated how
Why
far
wouldn't you?
ahead in the future?
what do you mean? Why wouldn't? Well, because you're dealing with time dilation. That's the whole problem with it. Is that if you're using
If you
it,
went slow, then you would just die on your ship before you reach your destination.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's a reason for it. I'm just saying like you wouldn't use it all the time, but you would need to use it if you're gonna get back on track. But you wouldn't be using it all the time.
And that's like driving on a highway where
It's not.
says 70 miles
two
per
different
hour.
forms of fuel.
Oh,
You have two different forms of fuel when you're driving a car.
But the
You don't
concept,
have-
but the
so-
concept
My
now is
hyperspace
both.
crystal. I got my gasoline. Let me use my hyperspace crystal though, because I go way faster with it than the gasoline. Why
They
would-
didn't show that there's another fuel source for the
to
ship.
go
They
off
could-
of the
What are you
math
talking
of
about?
what is shown in the film.
They only showed the
Buzz
crystal.
Buzz gets the successful crystal. Okay, we're going with the older Buzz, the Zerg Buzz. Successful crystal goes 22 years. He then uses that again to escape from Burnside into the future, which is an unestablished amount of time to a point in the future to the Zerg ship. He then uses that still same crystal to take the Zerg ship back in time until it runs out.
Giant ship. Yeah.
Yes. Something I didn't necessarily think of is how old is old Buzz? Is his aging because of a time dilation effect because of the Zerg ship? Is he actually only like a week older than current Buzz?
I'm not going to touch on that one.
No, that is something never stated, and I don't think needed to be stated. Yeah. It was visually shown that he's older, looking, so they don't look exactly the same like clones, and they don't do that whole clone cliche of like shoot the bad one, I'm the real one kind of thing, which was, I think, good. But that shows that the crystal does run out of juice. It does run out of fuel.
Anything would.
Yes. So we do know it's 22 years success from the pinpoint, and then into the future, and then back. So it's at least 44 years, give or take the additional future to back. And then he went even further back in time a bit, which altered our protagonist Buzz's landing.
Mm-hmm.
So my best guess is over 100 years is how much the crystal can take. I don't fully know, and I also don't, it's never shown if the Zerg ship is, because of how large it is, if it takes more power, I guess, out of the crystal itself to use, compared to the little, Flight 15 ship.
So that's an issue, at least for me. That's not my biggest issue with this scene, though. The idea that the crystal ran out, and this is as far back as you can go. My question is more of, okay, you have the entire galaxy, why here?
Because it's the mission.
Yes, but he can go to hyperfuel crystal anywhere and then come back. He chose here.
I guess he only had two.
That to
options.
me is more damaging.
Well, I think he only had two options. He could have gone back. He could have gone to Star Command and tried to prove who he is to get a crystal there, or going back in time to Sox, who he knows had the formula of the crystal capable of being made where it was. I think those are the only two options he really had.
What I think with this whole scene, though, because what they're playing out is that old Buzz needs new Buzz's power source because his is out, so they can go back in time and stop the mistake from happening altogether. Not even, going back and giving
test flight one.
Yeah, just stopping the whole thing. And so, which is showing that's how selfish he was and only thinking about himself, essentially, by not even just, getting the people off the planet, but not even going on the planet in the first place, essentially. But he would have to go to a point that would have a power source,
mm-hmm.
which would be that point. If he went somewhere else, he could foreseeably run out of power and then be stuck there just floating in space and then die out. So I think his motives for at least going to like a timeline where he would run out of power, but he would be in a zone where there would be power that he could get back. Isn't that out of the ordinary?
Well, what's out of the ordinary?
He didn't know that there would be a power, because as he said himself, this is all new. This didn't happen before.
Well, yeah, but
I one thing that comes to mind is I don't think Buzz, off the top of his head, would know the coordinates to get back to Star Command to type into the Zerg ship.
Yeah, I'm sure it's all pre-programmed, so it's not like...
Okay, but Sox is with him, and Sox would know. Oh, no, wait, he can't even remember the formula.
Sox doesn't even remember the formula.
Yeah, that's just even... This is just...
Star Command is.
All this is just damaging to even more, because it's just poking more and more holes in what this idea introduced of because they want an evil Buzz to be Zerg. So
I'm not a fan of that anyways. But,
yeah, nor am I. So the fuel thing is a problem. The time travel is a problem. Sox not being able to remember the formula is a problem, and they all have to. Those problems all have to exist simultaneously for this scene to happen. Yeah. Because again, my issue is that if you have this hyperfuel, you can travel back in time anywhere. He doesn't necessarily need to go to Star Command. He can go anywhere and just get the fuel again. He could pick a pit stop wherever he wants, pretty much. The issue is that like all these problems exist at once in order to facilitate this happening, which is why I don't like this. Which only compiles onto the fact I don't like the reveal that Zurg is supposed to be Buzz.
Ryder, I have a question to that.
All right.
You said this Buzz could take a pit stop anywhere. Where would those pit stops be?
The galaxy is a big place. What do you?
Would this?
I don't need to provide anything specific. You yourself suggested Star Command and then said Buzz wouldn't know where Star Command is, which already in of itself is very damaging to Buzz by itself if he doesn't know where Star Command is. The guy who's quoting regulations at the beginning of this movie doesn't know where Star Command is.
Well, that's not what I meant. I think he knows where it is, like which quadrant it's in or whatever, but to put it into a computer for this Zurg ship, I don't think he knows how to input it into this command to get him to where it needs to go. So
you find it's not in character for him to go in the direction of Star Command at all. So whether or not he knows, you just said he knows where the quadrant is, so then he should know a direction, right?
Yes, as I said, I think he only knows
pretty big.
one of two locations to go to.
Space is big.
At this point, he only knows two places to get a crystal, which would be Star Command from the beginning of the turnip mission to get where they are, and the one that he made with Socks on the planet they're at. Those are the only two locations. I don't know if he knows of any other locations at all that makes these crystals.
The other thing that we touched on earlier is we don't know how long they've been traveling into deep space, so that could also just be unattainable with an already used up fuel source.
That's true. It's a completely unrecognizable ship to him when he arrives to figure out if the crystal will work, how it works, how the machine goes.
Wait, I forgot. Did he find this ship?
Shop. Yes.
He just found it. Yeah.
He just to the future and found the ship.
Oh, that's just convenient as fuck. All right.
That's what I was.
Oh
saying.
God! Like this scene was just bleeding over itself. All right, we need to move on because this scene just keeps bleeding over itself.
And then let's see. I like how the size. Well, yes, because old Buzz never had Junior Patrol, and this new Buzz does. So this new Buzz has different thoughts. But I like how Cyborg Socks still sides with the protagonist Buzz over old Buzz.
I wrote that as a problem in my notes.
I wrote that as very convenient.
Well, I wrote that freaking Socks betrayed old Buzz after decades of being his friend.
So
just flipped on him.
Yeah, we don't know what that relationship was like. Come on, he could have been an asshole.
Well, you're also assuming that he wasn't, or was it? We don't see it.
The only thing that's stated is that this old Buzz is saying like he doesn't care about current lives.
Your version of that scene is boring, Crimson. That's just what I'm going to say. I don't want to see like 50 years of a relationship there.
I'm just saying he betrayed someone he's been with for decades.
Who was about to freaking kill was about to kill like hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, but Socks would know this plan. So
the slight connection I can make to that would be in Toy Story 3 when Big Baby throws Lotso in the trash. They've been together this whole time, and then this one talk about what their intentions are changes their side friend who's been with them the whole time.
But I think we saw growth with the baby. We didn't see anything with Cyborg Kitty.
Well, yeah, but you have to understand that he's been dealing with this crazy version of Buzz for years, and he thinks that's normal, and then when he sees, like, oh no, this is what he's supposed to be like, and then he decides that, yeah, I want to go down this path. This is actually the morally right, side of this, and not this whole... I'm going to fix my mistake for me, not for anybody else.
As shown with Socks of having actual like emotions and its own character rather than like stick to them. It's not like BT from Titanfall 2 of like these are the 3 codes to stick by. It must obtain these 3 codes. Like must finish the mission. Socks doesn't have that.
Ironically, Buzz has that more than Socks does.
Yeah.
I was indifferent when Socks betrayed old Buzz. I was indifferent, though. I think 50 years of would-be relationship development between them being thrown out the window immediately is a bit of a problem. Now that it's been highlighted,
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. I'm fine with the concept of him betraying old Buzz, but I think he needs to see them interact more. And the movie wouldn't have to have made an effort for me to buy that more.
I don't know. I mean, I see the point, but
all right. Does anyone else have?
It was kind of just thrown out to be a joke again because he used the dart. So
that's true,
and it was funny. So
does anyone else have a strong talking point of Act 4 that stood out to them? Another one.
I have a nitpick. Shocker. That the Zerg bots call him Zerg because they can't pronounce Buzz. I found that stupid and
very
unnecessary.
lame.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that's the only word they know. That's the only thing they say. And Buzz is like, oh yeah, I tried to teach him Buzz, and all they say is Zerg kind of thing. Like to throw it off. I don't think they're actually trying to say Buzz.
Does that make any more sense?
It's just that's just the word. That's the only noise they make. It's like in Rick and Morty, the alien that laughs the whole time, and it's like, oh, he's not actually laughing at you. That's just the noise they make.
Yeah. Okay, so this Zerg ship that was stolen by old Buzz, did he steal that from a real Zerg, or was that a different Buzz?
We don't know.
I hope it's the real. I hope he stole it from the real Zerg because that's the only way to save it.
Because we uncovered a secret hidden plot there where it could be an actual Zerg and that's a fake Zerg. But
it could be a real Zerg. It could be the one from the past from the ship that's just now here in the future, and it's the same. As I said, it's that Zerg. That Buzz just wasn't on the ship when he took it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's never.
It's never if it's a real Zerg, if that was stolen.
The only thing I think that would be weird for a real Zerg or whatever is because the ship comes apart to show, like, you know, a human on the inside. Whoever real Zerg would be more than likely designed the Zerg outfit the same, you know, that way. So whatever real Zerg is could be human.
Well, like he's older, so we don't know how long he's spent like just modifying or retrofitting.
That is also true. We
how
do
much
not
is
know.
like a time dilation thing or something.
That was, a very small backstory. Not a lot of all these questions to be answered. So,
I guess a compliment for the writers since I've been pretty negative.
Yeah. They'll hear this and they'll be like, "That Crimson guy, he's all right, you know. He gave us a nudging, but we took it."
When they crashed the ship and Buzz was at his lowest point because the crystal got taken and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Izzy went up to him and tried to make him feel better. Didn't work. He says, "I need to be by myself," and then he gets taken by Zerg. That's nice.
That's nice. That's clever. I like that. A little bit.
I noted that when that happened.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's in his little notes. You can see him on Wikipedia.
Yeah. I'll post them. I won't do that.
I like how the Zerg robot, like the actual robot for Zerg, has a swappable like arm piece. Like his hand can be shot out and grab, but it also swaps to the cannon arm.
Mm-hmm.
Like multiple things on than just like the standard like one gun arm, one normal hand. So I like that it has more to it.
Yeah.
And the actual design of the suit, I think, does its job. I think it's fine.
Plus his job.
Just his job.
Yeah.
Me monocle.
Ryder, do you have one more thing to pinpoint about Act 4?
I should pull up my notes here to make sure, because I think a lot of what I don't like about Act 4 centers around the reveal that Zurg is Buzz. I don't think. I don't think I have anything because we pretty much covered what I want to talk about, which
That's
was
alright.
yeah.
That's cool. Crimson, Sinister, do either of you have one last thing for Act 4 before jumping into the final Act 5?
I'll end it with my compliment.
You'll end it on a compliment, will you?
Okay. I guess we'll go into Act 5, the finale of the self-destruct got activated, all the way up to, I guess, the start of the credits.
I thought you were going to say self-distract activated, and I was...
Self-destruct
It
activated.
It does distract old Buzz. So
and let's start with Ryder.
All right. One of my favorite. This is probably my second favorite joke. Is the space is everywhere. I love Izzy's spacewalk. Izzy's spacewalk to me was it was a nice character arc because what she got over to do was to try and help Buzz. I do appreciate that. Even if I think she was damaged earlier.
Damaged goods.
Yeah, so I like the idea that don't look up, don't look down, space is everywhere joke. And to me that was the culmination of something that could have been great.
And then
could have been.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was a decent scene for me as well. Well, just Socks overall. It was good.
I think it added to have Socks there with Izzy.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Because Izzy doesn't do what Buzz, there's no mission log talk or, inner thoughts. It's having another person there with her was helpful. And Socks was the best one to have with there. Taika Waititi's character, that would have been not as good at all.
No,
Darby, not as good. I think Buzz actually would have harmed it a bit. So I think, Socks would have is the most complimentary character to be with her.
Yeah, because it would have come off as like he was like expecting greatness, and then it wouldn't have happened or something. Yeah. I'm lackluster.
I don't think it would have been better, but it being just her would have been kind of nice as well. Because we talked about in our Men podcast about quiet, and if we just had a scene of her just staring into space, scared and knowing what she needs to do, I think would be pretty impactful.
That would have definitely made it suspenseful.
Yeah.
If it was just like breathing in the space and then no noise, but you just see the ship start moving.
I think it was solely
the steering change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was just so everybody involved would be on screen and you wouldn't have too much of a split.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where Socks would have been, probably with Darby and Tyke, but then that would have been, a little bit weird.
Yeah.
I think, it was like a little bit. Yeah. I think there's just too many characters for that to work.
Yeah, and that adds another kind of like where Taika's character knocks Socks, and it's like Socks got knocked out. It's another one of those moments where Socks starts floating off into space. Another like,
oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one of those moments.
I think it's important to note
I don't think it was overdone. I'll say that. I don't think it was like, again, kind of thing. It's like, I think it fitted for the scene that occurred in.
Well, yeah, and it gave them more of an emotion. You could see an actual emotional connection with the.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mm. I think Taika and Convict also are going to build a bomb right now.
I think that's happening right now.
Someplace to put them.
Yeah, they have a task to do, so they're not like absent for the finale.
Okay, like I do like that they're decent in this scene. Like they're actually becoming competent.
Mm.
But I kind of wish there had been smaller moments building up to it.
Well, it's mostly the Convict being competent because she's the one building the bomb.
Yeah.
I think it's a he in the. I don't know. It was really confusing.
No, Convict's a she.
It's a man.
No.
Darby? Darby's an old lady.
Darby's a lady.
Well, I know I know they're voiced by a lady, but I think they're supposed to be a man in
Oh.
the.
I
Yeah.
didn't get that.
I don't think so.
No, I definitely didn't get that.
Disney
Anyways.
Wiki. What is it?
Yeah, I felt like that whole mine scene was pretty irrelevant. It didn't really add anything. It just made those two characters have something to do. And I agree that
This woman.
we should have seen
Weird.
more, at least of Darby's capabilities, because this is the first time she actually made an explosive when they established early on that you can take any three objects and she can make a bomb out of it. But this is the first time, and she takes a teleporter and a piece of gum and its wrapper to make a mine, which I'm fine with, I guess. I don't know what
It's her special
technology's
power.
in a teleporter to make it explode. But yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like a nothing scene to fill up time and give them something to do.
Yeah.
That was my thoughts on that.
Mhm.
Did a scene stand out to you in this final act, Sinister?
Not really. No. I mean, I like the spacewalk. That was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I could,
The third act isn't the most striking, I'll say.
yeah.
I guess I'll go with in the last act I talked about how dumb Izzy was, and a scene Izzy does. I'll talk about a scene that Tyga's character does now, which
You mean all of them?
no, I'm just talking about Tyga's. The damn pen of
What a
being
you
like,
jumped to that point. Okay.
yeah,
Chekhov's,
of just being
Chekhov's
like,
done, man.
oh, I'll play with this pen this whole time, just click, 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 just that's my trait, and then it's like, oh wow, it's
They
quote
set
unquote
it up.
useful. Wow,
What
It's
a
Chekhov's
what a
done,
payoff.
Spring,
Yeah.
Come on.
what a payoff!
The
It worked.
freaking air brake got jammed, and they needed his pen to unjam the door.
It's so.
But all their suits have a pen.
No. Just it's Tyker's
Just
moment.
his.
It's
Yeah.
his moment.
No.
Stop acting like the other characters could have done something. It's
Yeah.
his moment.
They all
They
had
couldn't.
a pen.
But none of them played with it or established that they had
Oh.
There you go.
So we don't even know if
that
they
was
had pens.
that was their true fault.
They could have
Look-
had laser pointers.
Look,
for all we know.
they don't know about the fucking active camo timers. I don't think they know about the pens in their suits.
No, Taika just clicking his the whole time. It's like, wow, that's cool. I'm jealous you got one of those.
The dump scene.
Yes.
It's one of the odds that the air brake gets jammed. Anyways, I know that's pretty cliche and a lot of stuff with flying involved or
You
something
just
gets
expect
jammed.
more.
but-
That's your problem. You expect more.
Well, you know, it's Pixar. We were complimenting them at the beginning of this about their
Yeah.
past movies, so I
Yeah.
expect a quality
Yeah.
of a good quality.
Gotcha.
Well, just stop.
No, don't worry. They're in the process of convincing me to stop. Yeah.
I guess, Ryder, do you have another point in this final act to pick up?
Let's see. We have our action sequence between Zurg and Buzz in the command bridge. Izzy does pop up to help. Kind of. I don't remember all the details of the scene. Other than that, obviously they
Or
have to get
there's
away.
There's the AI, which is Ivan.
Ivan.
Oh yeah, Ivan's here. I forgot about Ivan.
But Buzz's favorite AI.
Yeah. I think the only thing that's important here is that Izzy actually does help contribute to the escaping Zurg for the fight. And then the two of them make their getaway.
We're forgetting a very important thing.
Forgetting,
Robo
or is
Sox
just
dies.
something that spoke out to Crimson? Yeah.
RoboSock died.
Well, they're
Zurg-
both robots.
Zurg killed him.
They gave me an
Cyborg,
emotional
whatever.
response.
Emotional.
Yeah.
No.
He got stepped on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
he
got
got
stepped
stoned,
on.
yeah.
Oh no.
Just gets crushed.
I don't need a traitor
Evil.
in my ranks.
Yeah. Evil Sox
And now I
died.
got a problem with Zurg's 50 years betraying. So, no,
Yeah.
Don't talk about that.
No. That overrides your original statement. You lose.
Well, it
by-
does because
relationship.
Sox act first, so it's retaliation at that point.
Well, the relationship between Old Buzz and Cyborg socks is far different than normal protagonist Buzz and standard socks.
Yes.
Mhm.
So,
I cut you off, Ryder.
No, it's fine. That's a good thing to bring up. I don't remember when he destroys the time crystal. Does he do that as they're all escaping?
he takes the time crystal into old Buzz's Flight 15 ship.
Oh, he does that in
He
space.
has
Right.
stored. He has that stored on the Zurg ship, which I guess is fine. I think
was that old Zergs or the one that got teleported from?
That was his, that one that got transported.
That got teleported. Yeah.
I thought that was his. Yeah.
Okay. My initial thought was that was the old Buzz's Flight 15 because they were the same ships. That was the old Buzz's because it didn't have the teleport thing on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it could very much just be very much as Buzz's. And then he flies out on the ship, and Zurg is trying to get the crystal out. So Buzz ejects, which is probably the part of the movie. I don't know if Sinister or Crimson, neither one of you two saw me shake my fist, yeah. Was Zurg saying time to die, Buzz, and he ejects and says, "Not today, Zurg." Shoots the crystal.
Not today, Zurg.
It's a classic line. I smirked at it.
Yeah.
I don't think it was earned, but I still liked it.
Oof. And that's all that matters.
And that's where he blows up the crystal.
Yeah.
And then Zurg died.
Dun.
Yeah, he gets blown away.
Not before blowing out the crystal.
You have Buzz destroying his own mission.
Yeah.
In order
his friends.
Yeah.
And himself.
And I guess I'll jump to a point which Crimson you brought up beforehand of why Toy Buzz didn't use invisibility.
Mm-hmm.
Now this isn't necessarily shown, but when they get these new upgraded outfits, these new Space Ranger suits,
Mm-hmm.
They now have the wings on the back, which connect to the red button, whereas beforehand the red button was a emergency pull to bring up a life preserver raspberry looking thing to protect them, which to me in the Toy Story movie never pushed that to inflate to a projector or protect. He used it to open his wings,
Mm-hmm.
which explains to me why he never used invisibility, because the toy suit is based off of these last suits shown and not the beginning ones. So invisibility could not be a part of these new ones.
I'm assuming they would still be a part, because why would you deny yourself an asset?
I could accept if that's actually how it played out, but it wouldn't
Also,
make sense from a design standpoint.
Built into the arm and not wrapped around. So.
Yeah.
If for some reason the new suits got rid of invisibility, then I would accept that explanation. But I don't see a reason why they ever would get rid of invisibility.
Well,
it's a very
power has to go
good
somewhere.
Yeah. I don't see why they would get rid of it. Like you say, it's just never shown after.
Yeah.
But that's the suit the toy's based on. So I think that is just more explanation to that. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of on Crimson with this one. He would definitely try to turn invisible because that's something that they would have. Granted, the movie doesn't show it, but
Sorry.
Yeah. All I'm saying is because they
comparing
didn't
a
show
movie
it.
that came out 30 years ago versus a movie that came out today, but why doesn't he have invisibility 30 years ago? It doesn't make any sense.
That comes down to why the writers
That's what I'm trying to say.
didn't think about that.
No, I'm on the other end. I think they did think about that.
I don't think they did.
I don't think that's why they showed it. They deliberately didn't show invisibility because of the Toy Story 1 outfit of how that Buzz reacted.
Yeah.
If they showed
I don't know about
invisibility
that,
on this new suit,
Well,
then yes, that's a
suit, really.
Yeah.
They showed that the
There you
laser's
go.
built into the arm. They showed that the wings are on the pack, and that the red button is no longer an eject, twist and pull. It's just a solid red button now. That is what it was shown when they're at the end walking away, which connects to the Toy Buzz. So if invisibility was shown during then yes, I would agree it is a flaw that Toy Buzz never
Just walk down
used
the
invisibility.
hallway and turn on
But
invisibility.
wouldn't that but again, like we talked earlier, if he did that, wouldn't the store, like, if he had invisibility in Toy Story 1, and he did that, and they're like, you're not invisible, and he looked at his hands like, I'm not! Ah!
I agree with that.
Yeah.
That leads to the problem of there shouldn't be invisibility in this movie.
But what would they do?
So, in the movie as a whole, okay.
They didn't have to have the bug hanger scene. They could have changed that to anything they wanted.
The thing I will agree with you here on this, Crimson, is that while he's not in, not at the very end, because the suit's at the very end, the upgraded one, I guess, based on the toy, but throughout, Buzz is giving the quotes that Buzz does and the things he say, going along like how he acts and everything, which is what the toy does and is based on, but that's not all in the upgraded suit that is beforehand. So the knowledge of invisibility beforehand of the other suit, I guess, would make sense for trying it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I think that these new suits just don't have invisibility. It's dumb that they don't, because it's a very useful thing, even if it's timed. But I think it's just shown that they don't have it, or not shown, but never brought up.
I don't know.
There wasn't
fine
time
with
for it to be.
I'm fine with it not being something that was with the toy, because also he had a laser in the toy, and he doesn't technically have a laser in his final suit either.
Well,
yeah, he does.
Right?
Yeah, he does.
I said it like 3 times now. They put the laser in the arm.
Oh,
it's not wrapped around now.
I was choosing not to hear that. Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, but it's from his later suit, so whatever. I don't know. It's not a huge issue. Either way,
No, but it's something to note. That's all it is.
All right. Well, before we
spoils
hit
the movie, no, don't watch this movie. He hasn't
It's not watchable.
Before we hit the end credit scenes, which are real bullet point, bang bang bang. Anyone else have any final Act 5 end of movie things to bring up?
During the Zurg fight with Buzz on the bridge, I think it was during this fight, Buzz looks out the window and sees Hawthorne, where Izzy is, across before she does the space jump, whatever.
Yeah.
Totally sucked me out of the movie. Go on.
No, I liked that.
I was saying that.
Oh, okay. Harsh. You're so harsh, Sinister, on this movie. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I just didn't really like it. I thought it was dumb. I should have made this movie. I would have been better.
I guess another nitpick I had was in the hallway for the mine scene. It showed the robots walking when they should be flying around to help Zurg.
Yeah. I thought they floated, right? Like that's what they.
I mean, they can flat out fly, but yeah, floating
that
could
is
work
true.
too.
I mean, for the bomb thing, they were just walking down the hallway.
Yeah, makes no sense.
Unless they have like a robotic code that they're not supposed to float or something, or it's I don't know.
Flying out about on the ship.
That would be
Well,
funny.
you could conceivably hit somebody really hard, and if you're going at max speed, I mean, it's not in there. I mean, if you wanted, I mean, you could, but I don't know. It seems like it would cause more issues than it would really solve anything. They'd be faster, sure, but
all I can think of
I don't
is
think
like
they would be safe.
Yeah, protocol is like there's no hostiles on ship and never have been, so they walk everywhere.
I mean, there was
So
alarms
just
going
kinda
on, right?
designed that
Which
way.
is why they got deployed.
No, they didn't know about. Oh yeah, but they didn't know what it was. They were just supposed to go and check it out. They weren't like in battle mode. Because technically, they just were like, there's something on the ship that is new, but they can't say it's a hostile or not because they don't see it.
Buzz, when he had his wings on flying, he flew down to the junior patrol and was trying to slow their descent by holding it back.
Which science
sky high.
came in. Yeah. Science came in and was like, that doesn't work. And then he was like, oh right, that doesn't work. And then he was really scared.
I guess that was good for a character moment.
Yeah, that it didn't actually work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've all been there. We've all tried to stop a spacecraft
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
flying into
Whether it's
crash.
Iron Man on Sokovia or the Sky High saving the school or
Superman stopping a plane,
Superman
or
stopping
holding up
anything.
a giant kryptonite island
Uh,
from the Superman movie no one remembers.
anything.
no, I remember that movie, unfortunately.
Superman Returns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From
I
what?
I don't know.
Precise.
The last act to me is pretty by the numbers for me, so I don't really have much to say about it. It was at that point, like this is where all the payoffs are, attempts at payoffs are coming in, pretty much.
Yes. There we go.
So, yeah, I don't really have much to say with that. Other than like, I don't think they did a good job for a lot of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. I
We-
guess.
We find out Darby is a criminal because she stole a ship.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that does bring. I got to bring up my favorite joke. My favorite joke is when Darby hears the sirens and she's like, "We gotta go! It's the Fuzz!" And then Buzz points out it's the rescue team. That to me was probably the funniest joke in the whole movie. That one made me laugh like out loud.
I went. No, I didn't. I didn't go that far.
Yeah.
It was good though. It was a good joke.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did everyone think about Burnside when he comes up to Buzz?
When he comes walking, big dick
Yeah.
swinging. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I think his initial anger at Buzz was valid because of the past things that Buzz has shown to him. But I think he still made the bigger move of accepting him and thanking him for what he did.
You definitely did make the bigger big dick move. You're right. Totally agree.
Because no, I mean the Zergbots were all around the shield the whole time and they did nothing. They couldn't do anything really.
Yeah.
It's like no one in, no one out.
You realized, you know what? Laser shield, not the best.
Well, kinda.
I mean, it prevented them from getting slaughtered or captured. So.
Yeah, but it also stopped them
How
from
does
doing
it
anything.
prevent
Yeah.
the vines from coming through the ground?
I don't know.
It's a
whole-
whole
underground.
sphere.
Yeah.
It's a whole
Yeah,
sphere.
it's a whole sphere. It goes all the way underground.
Yeah.
Do you remember him showing it? He was really proud
I
of
guess
it.
I missed out on that.
That was the one.
Well, Burnside got 1 point on me, I guess.
Crimson
Darn it.
has mild narcolepsy, and he always misses at the points where he has questions after.
I guess with that, then we'll go to the quick shots of the end credit scenes. With the first one being
Laser shield.
Yeah, laser shield of where is it? I mean,
Works every time.
yeah, keeps the bugs out. And then second one is Derek finally finishing his explanation of where the heck to
Springs.
go.
Springs, we skipped Derek earlier. They have no idea what you're
Who's
talking
Derek?
about.
What do you mean they don't know what the? I presume if you're listening to this now, you have seen the movie.
Yeah, I know, but
Presume.
yeah,
I do. If
I
you
don't.
know what, go watch the movie.
yeah.
then come
Derek's a
back.
part of the junior patrol that we refuse
Yeah,
to
Derek's
acknowledge.
one of the
Derek
droids.
was part of my favorite joke in the whole movie. There you go.
Anyway, Derek finally figures out where to go and turns around and no one's there. And then the last scene, which is after the credits roll, after the
After the money's been spent and nobody's paid for it. Yeah.
after the logos appear again, where it's like the thing's gonna go blue screen and turn off. You get
and then frickin' Ferris Bueller comes out in the bathroom saying like, "What are you doing here?"
oh, you don't
movie's
get that.
over.
No,
You don't
no.
get
Then Deadpool comes out in a robe and
No,
says,
no, you don't get that either. You don't get that either. What you get is Zurg.
little chat
No,
comes
no,
up
you
and is
get
like,
Zurg.
"Goodbye."
You get Zurg floating off into space, and the lights on his helmet reactivate like he's active. And then that's the end.
And then you hear,
sequel bait that will not come into
Yep.
fruition.
And that is the total of Lightyear.
and that has been a Lightyear story.
I love that you remember Derek's name, but not Taika's.
It's pretty.
Well,
It's
I will say, Taika's character,
is Taika.
he uses the feather Hamsten outfit. His
Yeah.
outfit's never shown. Derek's name is always on him. It says Eric with the written on D for
You say
Derek.
always like we see him a bunch.
Yeah.
He's barely in this
It's all-
movie.
he's always got the Derek on there, man.
You're mistaken what I'm saying. I'm saying when you see him, his name is always present.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't
got
see that with the other characters.
Yeah, but they also
But they
don't.
just
It
say his
doesn't say
name a lot.
Darby Steele. It doesn't say.
Say Taika's character isn't wearing a name tag the whole movie.
Neither
But
is the
Derek
other
essentially
one.
is. Well, Derek
you
essentially is.
No, but
Since
no,
we're
but I
talking
mean,
about Darby doesn't have a name
yeah,
tag.
and you remember Darby, and then he
It's
went
not
silent.
relevant. All right.
And he went silent.
No,
we finished the movie.
Finish the movie, everybody. You can go home. It's over.
Yeah, no.
We don't have any popcorn or soda, but
Sir, what do you think about the movie?
what I think about the movie?
Yeah, what do you think about the movie?
What do I think about the movie? Well, I thunk it pretty good, actually. I thought it was a solid little animated picture. I saw images and they moved around like they were people. I really liked it. No, I'm kidding. I mean, granted, there were, as we've already said a bunch of times, there were definitely some writing errors or story problems with this that just, I think, unfortunately, with time travel in general just kind of makes it a little bit hairy, and if you do anything that isn't scientific, to make it make sense, it doesn't make sense also, so it's kind of tricky, but I thought it was well executed as far as animation. Like I said, I've only seen a few probably like not good Pixar animation setups, but this was pretty good. I thought that the voice acting was good. I thought some of the casting choices were good. And
yeah, I have a bit of an aesthetic question for all of you, because this was my problem throughout the whole movie. The only thing that I think doesn't fit in this movie aesthetically is the Lightyear Ranger uniform. Like the iconic, the iconic suit.
It looks ugly.
The iconic Space Ranger uniform is basically an Iron Man suit designed by the Jetsons, and everything else here looks like it's from Ridley Scott's Alien almost.
Well, I was gonna make the argument when we saw at the very end where they're all wearing like the iconic Buzz Lightyear costumes. I was like, those look so old-fashioned compared to all the ones we've seen that were older.
Yeah,
like they looked so outdated.
Yeah, my problems with the suits were the new ones. I thought the old ones were fine.
Yeah, the ones that like they had through like most of the movie were okay, but yeah, the newer ones were. I thought they looked too.
I mean,
weird.
I thought the older ones still looked out of place. I mean, not to the degree as the new ones did. I still thought they were out of place, just because the aesthetic that the movie was going for. I got a lot of, like, as I said, Ridley Scott's Alien. Like, everything felt very analog, and then there was the Iron Man suits by the Jetsons. It was very. It didn't really fit. I know why it's there. But Zurg's outfit got updated, so I'm surprised that the Lightyear's uniform didn't get updated either. It's just
as much as I love the Ridley Scott's Alien aesthetic, I can kind of see why they probably did it for it. I think that would set up a different tone.
Yeah, it's just the aesthetically. I thought the Ranger space uniforms were very out of place, which I thought was odd. And obviously, I love Buzz Lightyear, so I love the uniforms, but it still feels out of place, just by an aesthetic standpoint. So, sorry.
Sprinks, I know you have a theory on this, whether or not this movie was live action in the Toy Story universe, or what? Yeah. What about all that?
Oh, you want me to? Okay, so Senator, did you finish up your summary of?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, Crimson, to what you said there, of kind of stated at the beginning, that I said push to the end. So I believe what is shown at the beginning of this movie is like, this is the movie that Andy saw in theaters when to get a Buzz Lightyear figure.
In 1995.
I think that is complete crap.
Obviously, he would have walked. Obviously, he would have walked in with a Sox figure, not a Lightyear figure.
I think that is completely false. I think what actually Andy actually saw was Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, and that Lightyear is the live-action adaptation of that movie. That is why. That is what I believe, because the look of everything in Lightyear, how advanced it is from the first Toy Story movie, is one could just say like, oh, that's the animation change after all these years. But it's also the fact that Disney hates Buzz Lightyear Star Command, the movie and the show. They want that to be rid out of history. They don't want that. They don't like that.
Which is a shame.
So,
they're...
which is a shame. Which makes me think that like for one example, I do believe it's Andy saw Buzz Lightyear Star Command because the characters Booster, XR, I forget the lady's name,
Mira,
are the characters of the Junior Patrol of Taika, Darby, and Izzy, and one could say Derek because of XR as the robot kind of connection.
Yeah.
But I just like, I think there are points to that suit that story, but Disney just doesn't want to say it. That's why at the beginning they're like, this is Lightyear.
Yeah.
Blah blah.
They definitely take the archetypes of the original characters from that movie, but I think they lack a lot of the substance that makes those side characters really great.
I never saw Buzz Lightyear Star Command, so I don't know.
I only ever saw the show. Never saw the movie.
Never saw either.
Yeah.
I like the movie. I like the show. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I just refuse to believe that this was what Andy saw. I don't know about
connecting
it to the other movie or show.
If I were to connect this to the Toy Story universe as a writer, this would be the reboot Andy took his kids to. Not the not the one he saw. It's the one that he took his kids to.
That would make more sense to me. Yes. I guess let's go over to Crimson then. And Crimson, your summary of how you thought about the movie Lightyear.
I found it. Huh?
No, go on. Sorry.
I found it mildly entertaining. It wasn't. It wasn't like a headache to watch or anything, but it wasn't like, oh my god, I've been waiting for this since I was 5. But it was an okay movie. I think Chris Evans did a decent job taking on the mantle. Still would have preferred Tim Allen, but Chris Evans did a acceptable job. I'm with Ryder where I did not like the Buzz reveal or the Zurg reveal. What's the difference? Not great. I'm not a fan of that. So it's just good. Yeah, just overall enjoyable, I guess. Definitely lower end of Pixar films, especially for me since I haven't really seen the newer stuff, which I don't know how those stack up to the old. So this is not a good introduction to new Pixar for me.
Even though it should be, because technically it's a familiar one.
Yeah. It should. Yeah, that's my review of this.
All right, Ryder.
All right. Well, I found this movie to be painfully mediocre. I don't feel that Buzz was assassinated, which is a plus. I have so many problems with the various side characters, though, and it really degrades the story. I think the new addition of the flaw being that he is so determined to fix his mistake that he was willing to sacrifice, his life on the planet, essentially. A nice addition. There are very, very scant nods that I appreciated, even if I didn't feel they were very substantive, and Easter eggs and things of that nature. I think this movie really struggles with the side characters, but it also struggles with coherent story. Just because the world building, to kind of go on with what I said about the vines earlier, a lot of what this movie is they introduce things without really thinking through the consequences of what they've introduced. They tend to play them for gags and things like that. I find a lot of this movie to be very, very quick and fast-pacey. You don't really have a lot of time to breathe. which is a shame because Pixar movies are infamous for knowing when to be quiet, and those quiet moments are very few and far in between. And while they are great, while they are great in isolation, I feel the problem is that movies and writing in general is it's never scenes in isolation, so they lack the support in order to maintain that level of greatness by themselves. So unfortunately, I think Lightyear is on the lower end of Pixar, and that does hurt a lot because I have a very, very near and dear attachment to the character from both the original 2D movies that Disney hates and obviously from Toy Story. I do think all the actors do a good job. I already brought up pretty much my one aesthetic issue I had with this movie, which was the Ranger uniforms feeling out of place. But yeah, I just think the movie's mediocre, and that sucks.
All right.
And yourself, Spritz.
Well, let's see. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I do see flaws in it.
Kind of sounded like Roger Ebert there for a second. I think it was a pretty good movie.
Went into this expecting it to be fun. I already knew a nostalgia factor would hit because of all the Toy Story things, which did occur. I thought pacing was fine. I thought the animation was on par and looked phenomenal, especially with the lighting to it. I think the lighting was great. It's always a bit tricky to do cinematography for an animated or a feature, but the shots that were chosen were good. I didn't think anything was too jarring or out of place. I am a bit biased when it comes to the sound, the background score, because it's Michael Giacchino, who's been on many Pixar projects, but I thought it was fitting and worked very well. I will say that the weakest point is probably the plot holes and writing. But yeah, overall, I found it enjoyable. And I guess with that, we should move on to the ratings. Well, before we move on to ratings, I'm going to do a little bit of connections. I guess we can all do connections, but I have a list of connections of things I saw in the movie that connected to other things, because to my knowledge, I don't recall if it was an interview or just something written and stated by the director that this movie Lightyear was a love letter to old past sci-fi movies. So some things I found connections to, which are pretty simple, is the Toy Story stuff with the quotes, the inner visor of Buzz looking around, the cones. Seeing Buzz Lightyear in a cone reminded me of just Toy Story 2 when they're in cones. The laser and jetpack ejection, which is like from Toy Story 2 in regards. The ship, that ship number 15 that Buzz uses is like the packaging he comes in, which instead of the invisibility, I saw it as the ship because it's the white with the blue accents. So that was the Toy Story connections I found. But in regards of a bunch of other things, and I'm sure they come from other things, maybe I just don't remember or don't know. But I guess the big one is the time dilation. Remind me of Interstellar. The Zurg bot drop pods remind me of ODST. The turnip ship looked very much like the ship from E.T. The Flight Suit 15, when he lands, the orange one, is very reminiscent of a X-Wing pilot. The Flight 15 landing, which I believe Sinister you brought up, it looked like Dagobah, which it did. But to me, being animated, it reminded me more of Treasure Planet, that forest planet that they land on. And lastly, Izzy's suit number on her outfit is 42, which I believe is connected to Hitchhikers.
That one might be a little bit of a jump, but I'm not gonna have any evidence to go against it.
Just connections I found.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys found any others that didn't list, but
I have nothing.
Okay.
I did my one, yeah.
Nah, I got mine out of the way as well.
Okay, cool. Okay, now we can go on to ratings. And I guess we'll start with writer and go down as normal.
All right. I definitely went in this movie thinking I wasn't sure how to feel about going to this movie just because it's like I said, I'm a big fan of Buzz Lightyear, Toy Story, and it has to be, for me, it had to be better than the original for me to like want to accept it. I don't think it is. That's, I guess, is fine ultimately. But I think for how much I enjoyed this, my subjective is just going to be solid 6. I didn't hate the movie. I just didn't really enjoy it either. It just kind of fell right in the middle, I guess, for me. So actually, I'm going to put that as 5.5 then, I guess. My objective rating, like I said, I don't think the characters are all that great. Outside of Socks, pretty much is the only thing this movie convinced me of is that I think Socks, Andy would have gotten a Socks figure when he went out to when he was getting toys, pretty much. I think, like I said, it's very on the painful mediocre side for me. So it's not bad, but it never really was able to achieve it being good or great. So my objective rating for this is, I'm gonna go with a 4.
So for me, it's a little unfortunate because I'm pretty darn close to writer on my 2 scores here. So for my objective, I also gave it a 4, and I was probably the most critical, at least vocal, pointing out stuff I think in this one about a lot of small things, and it just snowballed for me. Where it just didn't feel like there was consistent thought throughout. They were thinking more towards the end goal than every situation they throw forth in front. So I guess just short-sightedness in the writing room for me.
Mm-hmm.
Really dragged it down. Visuals top-notch, as Frank stated. Sound design, just the normal animation side of things.
Yeah.
Everything animation side.
Animation was beautiful in this movie, yeah.
The music didn't really stand out to me, but usually it doesn't. It has to be pretty unique to pop to me. So it did its part, I suppose. So solid 4 subjective. I gave it a 6. It's something I'm fine watching again. It won't deter me from seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a Toy Story marathon, would I watch it? Maybe. I'd probably watch this more than Toy Story 4. I'll say that.
Yeah, me too.
I think Buzz, even though he had problems, at the end of the film, I still liked him. And Socks was good. Everyone else, I could do without. Liz, when I saw in the trailers, I thought she was going to be annoying. For the most part, she wasn't. When she ejected the freaking crystal, that was insane levels of maddening. But overall, she wasn't crazy annoying like I thought. That turned out to be Taika. 6 for subjective. Sinister.
I mean, I enjoyed this movie, and I mean, granted, I was going in thinking not much of it, so my enjoyment of it is probably better than, I think, definitely writers who was going in thinking or wanting it to be better than something else, and I had a feeling it probably was not going to be that, but so by doubling down, I actually evened out. So that's probably one of the reasons I'm not super upset about this movie. I mean, like, visually, it's great. It's definitely up there with most, like, the CG animated stuff that Pixar does. You know, I knew that was at least going to be a selling point, so that
Mhm.
was good. Writing could have been better, though. I don't know. I think they had unfortunately, I think most of that they had a lot thrown in there that was just probably not going to really work, and hoping for the best. But I will say I think the main issue with this is that it's middle of the road, which has been a lot of Pixar stuff recently. They're not really trying too hard, so it's not really an eyesore or anything, but it's not much better. So, but overall, it's a movie that if you just want to watch something, just put it on. You'll definitely like this. It's not terrible, and it's, the plot for the most part makes sense, and you're gonna sit back and watch it and enjoy it, I'm sure. So overall, I'd say about a 6. I would probably watch it again. I'd definitely probably watch it over Toy Story 4 or anything. So it would probably go Toy Story 2, Toy Story 1, Toy Story 3, Lightyear, and then 4. Yeah, that's all I got.
Alrighty, I guess we'll take it away. As I stated before, I liked the look of it. I liked the lighting. The cinematography was good. I think the music by Michael Giacchino again, great. I think the pacing was good. I think the scene to scene was good. I think the writing, was probably the weakest part. I did think it was, the old Buzz introduction, but also explanation. I think that went hand in hand. I'm glad there was things that were explained. Like Buzz taking responsibility for his actions, or why Burnside was doing what he was doing, and how Socks, just initially felt about things and explain. I like there was a lot of explanation of, I guess, the quote unquote fine to best characters. The ones under it, which is mainly the Junior Patrol, not so much. They didn't really explain it. Like Izzy's ejection, never really explained why, or like Taika's character playing with the pen the whole time was only explained because of the very ending to save the emergency brake. Stuff like that was just very eh. I mean, Darby's like, oh, I can make bombs. She made one. So that whole to me was weak. But overall, for objective, I'm going to give it an 8, because I do agree that the weakness of the characters is credited to the writing of how they were created. It's not against the voice act. The voice acting was great. I did not think Chris Evans' voice overtaking Tim Allen was hard to see at all. I think it fit. Everyone else was, original characters. So I think that was fine. But the writing is credited for the things that were said or done, which is the lowering score for me. So an 8 objectively. For subjectively, I'm going to give it the same score as an 8, because I wasn't pulling my hair out the whole time. I was actually a bit of a sucker for the nostalgia that hit. As I listed all the connections I saw, I thought was pretty cool. I did enjoy it. I definitely enjoyed it more than Toy Story 4, as everyone's put it. But I still agree that what helps me make this movie look better to me is that this isn't the movie Andy saw. This is the one Andy saw as older, or the live action, I guess, of Star Command 1. So yeah, that is my scoring.
Nice.
I guess that's everyone's scoring there.
Yeah.
I'd also like to just credit out in the credits to David McLean. I hope I said that correctly. Who was credited for doing the math in the movie.
Good
Oh
boy.
no, at least
Yeah.
one person did research.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
I do appreciate that as someone who appreciates math, even though he sucks at it. I do like
For
that.
time dilation, for I guess aging process, time travel. Someone actually did that. So
Mhm.
thank you. And with that, that concludes episode 3 of the Cheap Seat Critics podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, or tuning in if you're viewing on YouTube. Please, recommend this to a friend, family member, coworker. Spread the word. The likes are appreciated. I think Spotify's stars maybe, or 5 rating. A 5 rating would be great.
We all know how the internet algorithm is. Just
Yeah, the best of the best of the best, sir, with honors. That's what we're looking for. That'd be great. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've been a geeky writer.
I've been Crimson Maroon.
I've been Sinister Boy.
And I'm Sprinks.
And we will catch you next time.
Toodaloo.
Bye.